Nickel-Klukstad, 4 of them, yes, 4 in the 7th, 10th, 34th and 48th minutes. Dallin Watene-Jelezniak scored in the 55th. Adam Pompey in the 70th. Tane Tuapiki in the 74th. Pompey 5 goals from 7 attempts. Charles Nickel-Klukstad on report in the 44th minute. And also on report, Aaron Clark. He was on report for a, is that the lifting tackle? He's on report as well. 1 successful, 1 unsuccessful challenge. 6 restarts for the Cowboys. Tries to Braden Burns in the 23rd minute. Scott Drinkwater in the 27th. Burns again in the 62nd minute. Jeremiah Nene in the 77th minute. Jake Clifford 2 goals from 4 attempts. Helam Lukey on report for a high tackle. No, it's Taumalolo with the lifting tackle in the 53rd minute. Sinbin and put on report. 1 restart, 1 unsuccessful challenge. Penalties 8-6 to the Warriors, who turn a 14-10 half-time lead into a 38-20 win over North Queensland. We've got 2 minutes to go. Let's start, Louis, with your ABC Player of the Year point.
Well, it was Wade Egan leading it, but I went to Tane Tuapiki, I meant to say. I thought he was brilliant. So he gets my 3. Wade Egan got 2. Absolutely amazing game from Wade Egan. Went off a little bit early, but get a bit of an early mark. He was getting a bit sore there, but he gets my 2. And I actually went a 3 for the Warriors. I had to go T. Murray Martin for 1.
Yeah, hard to argue with any of those players. Tane Tuapiki's second half, he was electrifying, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was outstanding, particularly when under a little bit of pressure. When they got to within 10 points, the game was certainly not in the bag, and he did some very special things. I thought, as I said earlier, Tanner Stowell-Smith in the second half did a good job. And that kid, Mackay Tafua, who came on to replace Wade Egan, who's obviously got a bit of an injury worry. Also, we'll have to watch. There might be an injury concern for Chanel Harris-Tavita as well. Tafua was born in Christchurch too, so it was a nice touch for him in just his second first-grade game. But I thought it was a quality game.
The Warriors next play the Dolphins. So that's second against third next week at Lang Park in Brisbane, the 3 o'clock game on Saturday. Dolphins Warriors. Then the Cowboys are the 5:30 game taking on Penrith in Townsville. So that's what's happening next Saturday. Like I say, Thursday night footy on air from 7 on ABC Listen, and at 7:50 Parramatta takes on the South Sydney Rabbitohs. But 38 points to 20. The Warriors beat the Cowboys. Remembering there are 2 games still to go. Storm v Raiders and then Roosters v Sharks. Right here on NRL Sunday on ABC Sport. Luke Lewis, that's been fun. It's been a fun weekend, mate. I'll catch you next weekend on Saturday, I think.
Yep, Saturday, Sunday. So thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of the week.
John Gibbs, thank you so much. Catch you next week.
Good night.
Thank you also to our team here, our producer, Ralph Tucker, our man of sound, Dennis the Den Dog Carnahan, and Jared, the pen producer, Ryan, produced the most amazing pen collection in the history of radio. So we are off to Amy Park in Melbourne. May these good, entertaining games continue. It is the Melbourne Storm taking on a desperate Canberra Raiders team. But Quinton Hull, both teams are desperate. Good afternoon to you.
Thank you, Andrew. And for our news radio audience in Melbourne just joining us, you join at the perfect time. Warriors have beaten the Cowboys 38-20, and we're about to see these 2 teams that were so prominent in 2025 try and stay relevant in the race for the 2026 Premiership. The beaten grand finalists, the Melbourne Storm, have already experienced a club record, an unwanted club record losing streak earlier in the year, but their form is turning around. The Storm now have a 6-win, 8-loss record, having won 4 of their last 5 games, and it was 2 wins in a row before the pre-Origin 2 bye. Their last start was a victory here over the Newcastle Knights in round 14. 32-30 was the scoreline there. Prior to that, they beat the Roosters here, so the Storm are starting to run into some better form. As far as last year's minor premiers, the Canberra Raiders, well, they've lost their last 2 games. Beaten by Parramatta 15-12 at Western Sydney Stadium last week, and prior to that were shut out at home by the Roosters 26-0. So Storm have won 4 of their last 5, and the Raiders, who only have 5 wins for the season, have lost 4 of their last 5 games. As ever, when you get to the weekend post-Origin, the question is, well, who's going around and who's not? The answer is all of them. Cam Munster, game 250 in Storm colours for the Queensland captain after 68 minutes in Origin and passing an HIA. He will play and starts on the field for the Storm, as does Trent Liero, who played 37 minutes at the MCG. Harry Grant, though, he will start from the bench for the Storm, 77 minutes across the footbridge on Wednesday night. And the starting hooker for the Storm is Trent Tolau. And there's a similar change for Canberra, with Tom Starling to start from the bench. Owen Paddy in jumper 14 is the starting hooker for Canberra. And their two New South Wales representatives are going around. Ethan Strange only played 16 minutes off the bench at the MCG. But Hudson Young, it'll be interesting to see how he goes, having played all 80 minutes on Wednesday night. It's a pretty special afternoon here as I welcome a man who knows this place well, former Warrior as well, former Kangaroo and Blue, Ryan Hoffman. It's a tribute for mental health. It's the Old Boys' Day as well. There's a lot happening pre-Storm warning here. How are you?
Very well, thanks, Q. Very excited for a good game of two desperate teams today. Look, it's a tremendous day as a Melbourne Storm Old Boy, seeing some of the players. There's 57 former players that have come down for the Old Boys' Day, and looking out, I'm seeing guys like Will Chambers, you've got Cooper Johns, you've got Tailwater, Nick Gow, Richard Swain, Robbie Ross. I mean, the list goes on and on. So it's a great turnout by all the boys. And
just a moment pre-game as well, where patrons have been asked to sort of say good day to the person next to you to check in. I'll check in with Ian Cohen down on the touchline. How are you feeling, mate? Welcome.
I'm actually feeling really good. I'm just chatting to Ben Rorty, actually. Say hello to our ABC listeners.
Hello, how are you going, everybody? Thanks for coming today. Sensational game.
There you go. What a champion he is. He's one of 57, as Hoffy said, that are lining up. Mental health is what it's about. It's called Tackling Tough Together, and it's a really important message. But there's some absolute guns down here, including Matty Geyer, of course. He's one of the ones that's played 250. Cameron Munster's going to be joining him today. Conditions are awesome. It's a beautiful summer's day here in Melbourne, Q. The ground's a little bit wet, but it should be all in readiness. Ben, how's things going to go today?
I got a tip. If you get on Sportsbet, 24 points we're going to win by.
Righto, okay. Forget the other bit, but he thinks they might win by a bit. There you go. So all happening down here. We're waiting for Melbourne Storm to make their way out. The Canberra Raiders, who, of course, come here with no fear. They've won plenty of times and they're about to come out, Q.
Have a winning record at this ground as they're led out by Joe Tarpany, but the Storm have won the last two head-to-head against the Green Machine, who today will be represented by Kayo Weeks at fullback. Savelia Tamali's back in the team, having missed that loss to Parramatta under the concussion protocol. Xavier Savage on the other wing. The centres are Seb Chris and Matt Timokor. The Ethans in the halves of Strange and Sanders. Up front, Corey Horsburgh and Joe Tarpany's in the front row, and Owen Paddy starts as the hooker. Hudson Young and Zach Hosking in the second row. Jaden Brayley is the lock forward, and the bench is Tommy Starling, Atta Mariota, Morgan Smithy, Stain Laurie, Jed Stewart, and Venna Patuki Case. So Ricky Stewart can go to 4 of that half dozen. There is a banner, as they do here, AFL style. Well, it's become Storm style over the years. They've borrowed that from across the footbridge, and the AFL lovers of this city. The crepe banner has been a part of the Storm as long as they have been around, as a nod to the sporting traditions of this city. And here comes Cameron Munster with children in arm and the banner reading Mad Dog Money. 250 games for a man who has also played 23 times for his state and 7 times for his country. But 250 in purple today.
It's been very special for Cameron Munster. I think there's only been 6 players for the Melbourne Storm that have played over 250 games, so he's joining a great crew there, and got his kids. One kid wasn't too happy to run through the tunnel, but he's got them going through a tremendous milestone, and great incentive for the Storm boys to play well today.
Made his debut all the way back in the 2014 season against North Queensland at the old Willows ground.
Wow.
Cowboys won that day 22-0, by the way.
I actually played that game. It was after Origin, and Bill was a bit crook. So
Billy Slater, yeah.
Billy Slater was a bit crook, so they put Munster there fullback, and he did quite a good job.
So today for the Storm, Sua Fa'alongo at fullback, Will Warbrick and Moses Leo are the wingers. Jack Howarth back in after missing one game with a quad injury. He's in the centres with Joe Chan. Munster and Hughes, the halves. The front rowers are Uda Ikamanu and King, with Tailau to start as the hooker Second row is Cooper Clark and Adavalu Lasati, and Trent Liero is the lock forward. And the 4 of the 6 available for Craig Bellamy are Harry Grant, Alec McDonald, Jack Hetherington, Sean Bloor and Tyron Wishart, who we expect to see for the first time since he picked up a pretty bad ankle injury in the round 9 defeat at the hands of the Dolphins up at Lang Park. 6 and 8 v 5 and 9 against 2 teams that were right in the fight last year. Boy, this is going to have some severe ramifications for the loser.
That's it, and Ricky Stewart loves a big game. He would have had this one circled.
Storm kick-off, game 2 on this NRL Sunday. We've still got one to come, and Seb Chris takes the catch and the first carry from a rather shallow kick-off. The Raiders are running to the MCG end, the left of your radio dial, running out of the south as Big Red Horsburgh takes carry 2 just beyond the red stripe of the 20 on what is a clear and cool yet fine day in Melbourne. Tarpany up to the 30 with the third carry for the Green Machine, who are in their very traditional-looking green with white shorts. Gee, it's good to come to the footy, and Canberra looks like Canberra and Melbourne looks like Melbourne as Brayley goes forward. He's taken 5 metres his own side of halfway. Paddy's in a dummy half, directs it to the left for Strange, and he puts his left boot to it, and it's a high, deep kick from Ethan Strange, straight down the throat of Fa'alongo, who decides to give the pass to Will Warbrick, who was wrapping infield. Warbrick takes the hit up and has tackled 15 from that northern end. So Melbourne with their first possession in the game and expecting around 16,000 fans. There's a mistake. Second carry. A mistake from Moses Leo, who has lost the ball. Second play of that set for the Storm. So here's an early invitation for the Raiders.
He's actually been in really good form, Moses Leo. The more football he plays, the better, but that's a disappointing start. It was a great first set by the Canberra Raiders. They got good metres. Corey Horsburgh leading the charge with 2 strong carries. And then a very positive kick by Ethan Sanders, putting it down the Melbourne Storm throat inside their 20. Melbourne Storm first chance to defend inside their cage area.
Yeah, well, he had a few mistakes, didn't he, early in the season and got the hook, Moses Leo.
Yeah, I thought he got rid of that out of his game.
Yeah.
But anyway.
A few defensive frailties as well in that losing streak, but he's been better, as you mentioned, the last month or so. Anyway, early mistake here allows Canberra a chance to attack, and Chris has tackled right edge, only 15 metres from the Melbourne line. Play to Paddy, given left and infield to Horsburgh. The big prop runs into his opposite number 8, Uduika Manu, who's got help there from Tolau to make the tackle. Canberra centre field and a dozen out. Paddy runs out of dummy half, gives it to Strange, on to Sanders. Sanders to Strange, to Timokor on the edge. He passes to the wing for Tamale, and Canberra score. Tamale scores on the left side, a simple right to left shift. And the Raiders make the most of that gift chance to attack early. 4-0, kick to come after 2.5 minutes.
Well, that was just a training run by the Canberra Raiders. Simple shape and guys getting in the right position. There was a poor read, I think, from Jerome Hughes. I don't think he needed to come out of his line there. If you come out of the line, you've got to stop the football. And he couldn't do that. Ethan Strange out the back, summed it up perfectly. Good try in the corner for the Canberra Raiders.
Ian Cohen down on the touchline.
Yeah, well, Storm appeared to be stunned really early. They just didn't slide across. They were obviously still feeling it after the spilled ball, but they just had no effect at all. So early strike for the Raiders, which is great news for the visitors.
And a 7th try of the season for the young man, Savelio Tamale. Missed that game against Parramatta under the concussion protocols. But, gee, Hoffy, that's... We've seen the sort of the good and the bad of the Storm this year, but that looked like one of those really simple shifts that usually get shut down.
Well, the defence wasn't working together. Like Jerome Hughes came out of the line. If you come out of the line, you've got to stop the football, but the rest of the team didn't go with him. So there's a bit of a disconnect there. They need to sort this out because the Raiders, that's their first shot. Believe me, they'll be coming there again.
And Ethan Sanders lining up the conversion attempt, 10 metres in from touch on the left and 21 metres out, as the skies just get a little cloudy for the moment on what's been generally a sunny yet cool day. Sanders with that left boot, starts at left, it's not hooking back. He's mishit that and misses. So the scoreline remains Canberra 4, Melbourne 0. Quentin Hull, Ryan Hoffman and Ian Cohen with you for NRL Sunday on ABC Sport. Score from across the ditch, it was Christchurch, the new venue where the Warriors beat North Queensland 38-20. Let's get around the grounds. The New South Wales Cup, second half in the men. Panthers 30 lead North Sydney 6. First half, Newtown 10 lead the Roosters 0. Women's New South Wales Rugby League, second half, Tigers 14, Knights 12. To the Queensland Cup, a couple of full-time scores there. Townsville beat Sunshine Coast 24-0. Norths beat Wynnum 36-16. First half score line, Northern Pride 16 lead PNG Hunters. Full-time in that soccer game in the World Cup, Japan's beaten Tunisia 4-0. In the AFL, Western Bulldogs lead St Kilda by 5 points in the second quarter after earlier North Melbourne had a win over the Tigers across the footbridge. Chris has got the ball for the Raiders as they run the ball upfield up to the 30, and now Horsburgh's been energetic early. He's tackled just to finish those around the grounds in the Super Netball semi-finals. First quarter, the West Coast Fever 7 are trailing the Melbourne Mavericks 10. Raiders with the ball as Young plays it there, given to, well, Sanders was going to kick at the end of the set, then decides to run. He was rushed out by King, passes right to Chris, gives to Savage. Savage kicks infield, but Lasardi's there to take it. Catches it well. Sanders and Strange were trying to create something there at the end of that set, but in the end, the Storm have got it. Now Joe Chan for the purple. He's pushed back in the tackle of Horsburgh, plays it shy of the 20. Given on to that left edge, and Sean Bloor gets taken down on the 30. Centre park at the northern end for the Storm. Played to Tolau, now given to Warbrick, who's running down the middle third. Will Warbrick cut down 10 metres inside his own half. Quick play the ball. Tolau jumps out, gives it to the left edge for Clark. And the big young fella taken 45 metres out from the Canberra line. Last play here for Hughes, who puts up a bomb. It'll come down about 12 metres out. No challenge, though, on the try scorer. Tamale catches it with no pressure at all and has stopped 22 metres from his own line on the kick return.
I think the Melbourne Storm are just happy to get to the end of their set and get the ball down into the Canberra half for the first time for this game. The Melbourne Storm defence, a little bit 6s and 7s at the moment. I mentioned as Josh King comes flying out of the line. It was Josh King's kick pressure that forced the Raiders to swing it wide and then get the crossfield kick in. Great work from Lasardi filling the gap.
Yeah, King had a real crack at Young there, but both of them up to it as once again the Raiders, who lead 4-0. They've got the 40-10 inside their own half. Brayley to play the ball here, directed left through Strange onto Young, Sanders should I say. I'll get, no, that was Strange. My Ethans, I'm still in the early stages of the Ethans at Canberra, playing with my brain. Young's got it on halfway. Here is, I can definitely tell you that is Ethan Strange. Kicking downfield, the kick's a bit of a wobbler. It pitched a metre from the touchline, about 15 metres from the in-goal area, then took a right turn, rolled into the in-goal area, taken by Fa'alongo, and he stopped the Melbourne fullback 10 from his own line. Hughes gets into dummy half, gives it on to Warbrick, and Will Warbrick stopped there. The Warriors bound Will Warbrick, now played and given to centre field for Howarth, and Jack Howarth on return from a quad injury. Middle park and 20 from his own line at the northern end. Now one man to the left for Moses Leo, who made that early mistake, but he holds on to it there. Midway goal line and halfway when tackled. Now to the right, Liero through Hughes, through the hands. Fa'alongo passes to Warbrick, who's down the wing, steps infield, beats the tackle of Strange, but can't get through the tackle of Tarpany and Young. And Warbrick's tackled on halfway for Melbourne. Shifted to the left through Hughes onto Munster. And the 250 gamer puts a high left foot bomb downfield. Savage is there to catch it, though, for the Raiders on the 20. And he gets tackled midway goal line and halfway. We've played 7 minutes in Melbourne. Canberra lead the Storm 4-0.
Yeah, there was no panic by the Canberra line. Fa'alongo hit space into the gap rather than running out of person, got himself through, but Canberra's defence nice and calm. Ethan Strange and Hudson Young doing a good job covering across. That's a great effort off the back of Origin.
Zach Hosking goes forward for the Green Machine. He's 10 from halfway as he plays it. Canberra working their way upfield. Now to the left from Strange on to Sanders to Strange to Timokor to the edge, but Tamale, and he gets taken down by the shifting defensive Chan. Comes in and plays the ball there to Young, who's a dummy half. He looks blind. Give it back infield to Strange. And now given to centre field, and Brayley's taken on 5. 32 metres from the Melbourne line. Last play here. Paddy gives it on to Sanders. A shallow left foot bomb, or it doesn't travel much downfield at all. Hosking has a jump at it, catches it, kept it alive, chucked it out the back to Weeks, given to Horsburgh, given to Brayley, given to Tarpany, centre of the field. Last play, they're running it. Little 1-2 exchange with Timokor and Young. Young to the wing. Young grabbers for the in-goal area, and he's got Hosking on the end of it. No, it's Paddy. It's Owen Paddy in that left corner who scored. What a try for Canberra. And that was mainly because they thought, well, the kick didn't really do much. We better do something with it in the end. And it's a grubber from Hudson Young, which has been jumped on by Owen Paddy for 8-0.
Look, the Canberra Raiders have come out like they've been shot out of a cannon. They really have. They have taken the game in the Melbourne Storm, and the Melbourne Storm are just standing around watching. The pass, the kick went up, the pass came out, and players are just watching the ball go past. No, not a lot of filling space. This is real dangerous signs for the Melbourne Storm because there is a distinct lack of urgency in their defensive line.
And you can sense the crowd is stunned here, Ian Cohen.
They certainly are, Q. They're absolutely just sitting at the moment, bottoms on plastic. There is no reason for them to get up at all, and they are very much surprised and stunned. It's almost like a few of the old boys have put on the purple again, and not to say the old boys couldn't play, but maybe 15 years on, that's a bit what Melbourne Storm look like at the moment out there. They're not agile, they're not moving, they're not sliding, they're not covering, they're not defending, and Canberra are making the most of it.
The worry, sorry, Q, the worry for the Storm was with the injuries that they've had, especially with Nick Meaney, they've had to put Joe Chan in the centres, and he has had his issues in defending in the centres, and they're attacking the Melbourne Storm right edge, and that's 2 tries, 2 line breaks right down that same side.
First try of the season for Owen Paddy, and as mentioned, really, it was a pretty shallow kick from Sanders at the end of the set. And then they thought, OK, well, we better make good of this by chucking it around and playing a bit of fun-time footy. It was almost like a free shot.
Well, Melbourne gave him a free catch, which is fine, as long as you get yourself behind the football. But Melbourne weren't doing it. They were walking back into the line. You can't walk while the ball's in play.
Basically the same blade of grass for the conversion for Sanders here. He missed the first one near side to the left. Does he make the adjustment? Yes, he does. Ethan Sanders kicks the conversion, and Canberra, to borrow Hoffy's words, they have shot out of the gun here. The Raiders 10 lead the Storm 0, and we played only 10 minutes here in Melbourne on NRL Sunday on ABC Sport. Earlier, it was the 38-20 victory, 38-20 Warriors over the Cowboys, and to come at the Sydney Football Stadium this evening, the Roosters up against Cronulla Sutherland, Brett Sprigg and the team to bring that to you. So Suafai-Longo ready to restart play in the middle. Referee Todd Smith, by the way, in the middle today. Chris Butler's in the bunker. Another shallow restart taken by Savage. 15 from his goal line, then tackled only, well, 25 from the line. That was a couple of shallow restarts. Hosking now one man in field, met by 3 defenders and put down. Zach Hosking slightly right edge, midway goal line and halfway. Back to the middle third for Tarpany. Bent the line for a moment there, almost got through the tackle of Clark and also Tolau, but they bring him down now. Young up to halfway. Warning signs early here for the purple. Young almost got through before eventually Lasarti's there with Liero to stop him. Right on the halfway chalk. Paddy out of dummy half. He decides to burrow through the marker defence and got through before Hughes gets him. 35 out, last play here for Canberra. It's onto the boot of Sanders. A high bomb. Fai-Longo can't get to it. Oh, everyone watched it bounce. It bounced backwards to Tamale. Canberra's got it. Gives it to Strange, who Sanders, who kicks it to the goal line again, but taken by Tolau of the Storm. He chucks a pass to the edge for Howarth, who eventually is going to get tackled 25 metres out. And, well, again, more by accident than design, the creativity at the end of that last play from the Raiders, but it asked the Storm a few questions.
It certainly did. Once again, a kick in progress, a kick up in the air, the kick in play. No one's moving towards it. Good work by Trent Tolau to scoop the ball up at the end goal and make sure it wasn't a dropout.
Cooper Clark's now with the ball, and thighs are pumping for the young man. Couple of post-contact meters to get beyond halfway. Sanders there with Horsburgh with Hosking to make the tackle. Now to the right. Hughes on to Fai-Longo. Fai-Longo to Warbrick. Over the 40, up to the 30. Well taken down, though, by the tackle of Timacor. 25 out right edge. Last play, Melbourne. Hughes puts up a bomb. It'll come down on the goal line or thereabouts. Weeks leaps and catches and is pushed into the in-goal area. But there's a penalty going to the Raiders. And just trying to get the explanation from Todd Smith. One of the Raiders players was taken out.
Yeah, well, no, it was taken in the air by Joe Chan. I thought live Joe Chan might have got there a bit early, which he did. all he had to do was wait another half a second before his feet to hit the ground. They could have driven him back in, but once again, Melbourne Storm letting Canberra off the hook.
Sanders finds touch. 10-0 to Canberra early on here. Timokor tapes the tap, but he's still deep in his own half, tapped on the 20, runs to the 30, and, well, sort of walks off the mark. There's no way he'd be allowed to play that there. Todd Smith says, get back. And he does, plays it to Young at distributor, passes infield to Strange, who gets it on, but 4 defenders in the face there of Tarpany, who had no momentum. Plays the football to Paddy, given right through Brayley onto Horsburgh, and Horsburgh tackle for Canberra. Centre third, just beyond the 30, in now overcast conditions in Melbourne, given to the left. It's Strange on the Timokor. Timokor on the left edge, runs into the defence, and put down by Chan and also Hughes. Couple of metres Canberra side of halfway, 5 in from touch on the left. Raiders back to the right through the hands of Sanders on Strange. Now Weeks gets it onto the edge for Chris. Chris tackle but passes back in field to Weeks. Runs laterally across halfway. The Canberra fullback before straightening up and driving his thighs through the tackle of Liero. Tackled 41 out. End of the set. It's a high floating bomb from Sanders. It'll come down 15 out. Failongo did well to catch it and beats a tackler. Failongo over the 30, ankle tap. And just as well he was ankle tapped there by Sanders, or he was away. Paddy helps make the tackle. Crowd wants 6 more because they've been jumping all over him. The ref says, nah, play the ball. 10 from halfway.
That was an amazing play by Failongo. That was a hell of a ball to catch. It was floating everywhere, but not just to catch, but then to look to run afterwards. That's the first shot across the bow by the Storm as Tolau nearly makes a break.
Little dummy half scoot, caught the markers napping for a moment. He's tackled 35 out. 10-0 to the Raiders. Hughes from 30. Kicks for Warbrick's wing. He'll catch it, but he's wrapped up and rushed over the touchline. No, chucked it infield just. Lasardi's there to get it. He is tackled immediately by Strange and also Weeks. Plays the ball there. Chan passes infield to Hughes. Gives it on to Udawika Manu on a straightening run. And this now looks like the Storm's best chance that we've seen in the opening 15 minutes. Tolau passes left. Hughes on to Munster. Munster second man, Failongo. Oh, it was just behind Failongo. His pass to the edge ended up being behind his support man out there. And on the last, Moses Leo had to clean up. Then gets tackled. Handover. Raiders ball. 10-0 Canberra with 25 minutes left in this first half. NRL Sunday on ABC Sport. Quentin Hull, Ryan Hoffman and Ian Cohen bringing you inside Amy Park in Melbourne for this second of 3 games that we're bringing you on this Sunday of round 16 as Kyo Weeks tries to create something from inside his own 20 before meeting the tackle of Cooper Clark. Plays the ball there to Paddy. Directed left through Strange. But all 6 against the call there as Hughes comes out of the defensive line and makes the tackle on Tamale, but it's a wavy fisty and a fresh set here for the Green Machine. So an easy run down the middle third and give 10 metres to Brayley. Now Paddy out of dummy half, gives off right shoulder to Tarpany. And Big Joe Tarpany, tries an optimistic offload which comes unstuck. Batted backward by the Storm and Clark's got it. So was that Munster in the tackle that batted it backwards? Yeah. Very clever play from Munster on an optimistic offload from Tarpany. So now Melbourne's got the ball 40 metres out. They go one man to the left, but no way through. Out on that, it's a bit of a mess out there too.
It is. It's very messy in the play.
Slow play the ball there. Moses Leo was trying to get it away quickly, but the ref says go again. Now King receives one man to the right of the ruck. That's a settling hitter. The purple at 25 out in centre field as he's played to Tolau, given to the right. Munster to Hughes. Hughes thought the pass, then jinked off his right foot. Had the run option, but Horsburgh cuts him down. Ball to be played 25 metres out. Tolau passes left for Liero. Puts it under his right wing. Hits 3 defenders, Trent Liero, and takes the tackle for Melbourne. 11 from the Raiders line. Now out of dummy half. Tolau blindside. Munster. Second man onto Howarth. Intercept. Put your glasses down. Xavier Savage had a fumble, had a catch, and then does a Usain Bolt impersonation over 80 metres and runs the length to score. He is quick. That's 3 tries for Canberra. And the left edge shift for the purple comes unstuck. And it was a pretty, dare I say it, Hoffy. Yeah, he had a little bobble, but he was always going to gamble with that. The pass was absolutely telegraphed, and Savage thought, I'll have a fish here, and he caught it. He goes 80 to score, and it's 14-0.
he read Jack Howard there like an absolute book. It was a 2-on-1. Xavier Savage just gets himself right in between the man on the passing. It was almost a pass straight to his chest. That's good skill by the winger, and no one was stopping him. Look, that's very disappointing. That's disheartening for the Melbourne Storm. They finally had some pressure, was building pressure on the Canberra line. But you've got to admire what the Canberra Raiders team are doing here. Been very strong in defence, but they're defending their errors. Offensive error by Joe Tarpany, trying to force the offload, but his team defended it. That's what the Melbourne Storm need to do. Xavier
Savage. Once he got in clear space, Hoffy, punters were lining up to collect.
He was gone.
Oh, Ian, it was far side to you, but boy, he's a side, isn't he?
Yeah, you could still see it from here. The grass was scorching behind him. It was length of the Flemington Straight, and put your glasses down. You're absolutely right. Raiders have won 5 of their last 7 matches here at Amy Park. So, as I said earlier, they come here without fear, and they're certainly proving that at the moment.
A couple of big, well, I remember one big final in that run. Storm had won
2019,
the last,
I think it was, yeah.
Storm have won the last couple here. But now Sanders with the conversion attempt from straight in front to make it 16-0 Canberra after only 18.5 minutes. Flags are raised. One, make it 2 from 3 on the day for Ethan Sanders off the kicking tee. And the Green Machine lead the Purple 16-0 here on NRL Sunday on ABC Sport. Earlier Warriors 38, Cowboys 20. Let's go around the grounds. New South Wales Cup second half. Panthers 30, lead North Sydney 6. Half-time, Newtown 20, lead the Roosters 0. Women's Rugby League in New South Wales, second half, Knights 20, lead the Tigers 14. To the Queensland Cup, second half, Pride 16 over the Hunters 8. In the AFL half-time, the Bulldogs lead St Kilda by 16 points at Docklands. And semi-finals in the Super Netball second quarter, Melbourne Mavericks 20, lead the West Coast Fever 19. Repeating that soccer score, it was 4-0 to Japan over Tunisia. You can get in touch on 0467 920 222 on the text as Horsburgh takes the first carry off the kickoff, and now Tarpany for the Raiders gets the midway goal line and halfway. A perfect start for Canberra, who have lost 4 of their last 5 games. The Storm, well, we sort of thought they were getting their season back on track. They'd won 4 of their last 5, but they'll be chasing today. Horsburgh to the 30. Now Brayley receives and runs into the tackle of Lasati. Needs some help, and he gets it from Clark down low and Liero up top. Ball played 8 from halfway. Paddy jumps out of dummy half. Lasati gets him from marker to put him down with help from King. Right on halfway, Ref Smith's got his hand in the air. That's 5. End of the set, and Sanders puts up a high kick downfield. It's looked at by Warbrick. He comes in, catches it pretty comfortably on his chest. 15 from the Melbourne line. And no further progression upfield from Warbrick as Strange is there to make the tackle.
It's been a really good start by Owen Paddy. It was a big call by Ricky Stewart to start with Starling on the bench and start with Owen Paddy, but he's been tremendous controlling the ruck there for the Raiders.
Penalty to Melbourne. And this will help them get downfield. A text here from John saying that the NRL apps are saying 26-0. No, I can tell you it is only 6-0. 16-0, sorry. Yep, 16-0. Tamale, Paddy and Savage the try scorers. Sanders having kicked 2 from 3. There's an unnamed text here saying, thinking of the big crowd on Wednesday night, maybe a bit of a smaller crowd today. We'll get a thought from Ian in that in a moment, but the Storm are on the rumble here. Good run from Udoikamanu. Tackle 35 out. About 16,000 inspected today. Grant's now out there. He started on the bench, feeds it left for Liero, and the Queensland combine to get to the 20-metre line. Now Munster on the left, gives it on to Clark. Big Cooper had that arm free for an offload for a moment, but he decides to take the tackle. 15 in from the left, 10 out. Grant out of dummy half, passes right for Liero, gives it on to Udoikamanu, bumped away from Young, but is taken down by Brayley up top, and Horsburgh down low. Last place Storm, a couple out to the right. Hughes chucks it to Fayalongo, got it along the grass to Warbrick, who dives over in the corner. And Melbourne get one back. Coincidence or otherwise that Harry Grant's just got out there? Well, Hoffy, what do you reckon? That's 16-4, kick to come. But as soon as the purple helmet of Harry Grant got underneath the rump of the man playing the ball, the Storm looked like they had a bit more direction about what they were doing.
Yeah, the Melbourne Storm, they just straightened their attack a bit more. They were going a bit sideways and just going off the line and just taking one-out hit-ups. they got Harry Grant in. He takes a couple of steps out and just straightens up their attack. And that way the Raiders defence had to come in. Warbrick, and even Joe Chan, he was unmarked out there on the edge as well. It was a lovely pass there by Jerome Hughes. And then Failongo knew he just had to get the ball out there. Nice quick hands, got on the bounce pass, Warbrick in the corner.
Not far from you, Ian Cohen.
Yeah, and Sua's just adjusting the boot here at the moment. And I think he started in the headgear and
he's
is now
taken it off
without the headgear. So I can't quite get a read of when the headgear comes on and off for Sua. Sometimes it's half time, sometimes it's midway through the second half, but it's come off nice and early. Harry Grant going on within the first 20 minutes, I don't think would have been in Craig Bellamy's playbook, but obviously they needed something. And the wizard, Harry, well, he managed to get it a little bit on that. And whatever he did worked because Will Warbrick was the man that went over.
I think with Harry Grant, I think Craig Bellamy just wanted to take the sting out of the game with Trent Tolau, who defended quite well, but yeah, Harry Grant, you saw what he did on Wednesday night.
Well, he had some front foot ball in that set as well, so it's not really a comment against Tolau. It was more so, Grant was given the opportunity to try and set up a responding try and has helped to do so. Failongo from the right touchline, starts it right and bends it back on the breeze. Conversion from Failongo, and that's exactly what the Storm needed. Raiders 16, Storm 6 with 17 and a half minutes remaining in this first half. Your text welcome on 0467 920 222. Ian from Browley says, can we see a 100-metre dash between Savage and Weeks? I reckon we could have a really good race here today. You take Savage and Weeks from Canberra against Failongo and Warbrick.
Moses Leo. Moses Leo's got both of those.
So you reckon Leo's faster of the ex-Rugby Sevens guys, faster than Warbrick?
Well, Warbrick's carrying an extra 10 kegs on him.
Well, he's sort of... Yeah, it's a good point. Thanks for the text, 0467 920 222. Raiders kick off. King with the first carry. Gets to the 10-metre line at that Billy Slater stand end, the northern end here in Melbourne. Now Howarth runs middle third, and he drives the thighs. That's a good 3 or 4 post-contact metres to get beyond the 20. Plays the ball to Grant, give it to Udawikamanu. And this looks a bit better from the purple, who have settled off the back of that try. And Udawikamanu 15 from halfway, mid-set off the kickoff. Now Grant jumps out of dummy half himself, feeds it right for Hughes. He's tackled by Young, needs some help from Timokor to hold him up. And also Paddy there as well, played just beyond halfway by Hughes, given left through Grant to Munster, out to Liero, taken by Tarpany on 5. Crowd thought it was high, ref thought otherwise. Last play, Melbourne from 40 out. Hughes with a high bomb, defensive left corner to Marley, out left by Warbrick, passes infield to Lasati. Melbourne go back to back. They score at the end of the set from the kickoff. And very quickly, they are back in the contest here. Great catch from Will Warbrick, who just had a better run and jump at it with Tamale underneath it. And like a kangaroo in the headlights, he sort of couldn't get a run at it. Advantage Warbrick, took the catch, and Lasati was there backing up. 16-10 Canberra, Melbourne conversion to come.
Melbourne Storm got themselves back in this game from a couple of individual efforts. That was a great effort there by Will Warbrick. He made the choice. He made the choice to go down there and compete. And it was a tremendous trade. It was very, very tough for Tamale. Warbrick, brilliant under the high ball, coming at it at speed. Great job by Warbrick too to get the ball to Lasati under the post. All it took from the Storm was a couple of players just to make a bit more better choice and make a bit more of an effort choice. And nothing better exemplified that than Warbrick's effort on that.
Ian down on the touchline.
Yeah, watching Will Warbrick approach that, the endeavour and the absolute attitude, he hit that at real pace. To be fair, he's probably got a good 8 to 10 inches in height above Tamale as well. And once he ascended, he was just unbeaten, landed like a cat and just fed it off beautifully. So for Will Warbrick, that was an ultimate play. He was just all over that. The Raiders could do nothing, and his athleticism absolutely came to the fore there.
Failongo indeed has got rid of the headgear, and we'll convert this from straight in front, and after it was 16-0 Raiders, it'll be 16-12 with still 15 minutes remaining in the first half. As expected, Failongo converts. Here's a text from Kevin in Canberra. I thought this myself, Kevin. He said, he wonders whether it was a question to ask during commentary, but I will. Wondering about you and your dad being in the Raiders Hall of Fame and an original Raider. Any split allegiance on a day like today, Hoffy?
Oh, look,
did you ever think of playing for Canberra?
The opportunity did come up once, and it was a very, very tough decision to not sign with Canberra, because I was a Canberra tragic growing up, and I'll always have a soft spot for the Raiders. One thing I did love was when I played there with the Storm or with the Warriors and hearing the Raiders song, because I had that song on a record when I was a kid, and I'd always be waiting in the kickoff position and singing it to myself, because I fond memories of that song.
Well, there you go, Kevin. We got that question in for you. Kickoff's gone dead because it went right to the dead ball line, and Fa'alongo was well placed to put his foot beyond the dead ball line when catching it on the full. Mistake from the Raiders, so they've conceded, kicked off, conceded, and now the kickoff is dead and a penalty to Melbourne on halfway.
I tell you, it's a game of momentum, isn't it?
And Hughes decides to take the tap, and they rumble it through Udawikamanu down the middle third. So the purple on another raid here. Now to the left. Hughes on to Munster. Munster to Clark, and he's tackled. 20 in from touch on the left, 35 out. Did he muck up the play of the ball? No, ref says play on. Grant picks it up, has a run, offloads to King. King rolls down the middle third. They've settled now, the hosts. They look right into this. King's 20 out, centre field, plays it to Grant, runs out of dummy half, runs right, gives it to Udawikamanu on the infield surge, bounces out of Brayley before Brayley comes again to take him down with Horsburgh. Played 15 out, Grant passes left, Liero's ball, oh, that's loose. Oh, Fa'alongo kicks it out of the air, out of desperation, and then Sanders had to tap it dead with his hand for the Raiders. That was a bad pass, which almost became a World Cup highlight, with Fa'alongo kicking it out of the air soccer style.
I was about to say that. He's been watching too much of the World Cup, old too, I tell you.
What was that, Koza?
That was quite amazing. It would have been a miracle try for the ages had it got there.
So, as it turns out, the Storm will go again because it had to be tapped out by Sanders. So Munster's now got it, and he's tackled by Weeks. 5 to the left of the uprights and only 5 metres from the goal line. Grant looks blindside left, feeds it to the inside line of King. Put down by the tackle of the Raiders defence, led by Young. Only a metre from the goal line. Storm looking for 3 tries in a row to answer the first 3 from the Raiders. Fa'alongo gets an offload from Liero. Watch him weave, watch him jink. He's stopped though by desperate Raiders defence. Great try saver from Weeks under the black dot. Fa'alongo plays the ball now to Grant. He passes to the left, Munster. Second man, Howard. He's got Chris in front of him. Chris makes the tackle on his opposite number 3. Howard plays it quickly though. Leo passes infield to Munster. Goes himself at his 250th. Milestone money. Has the Mad Dog got it down? Referee Smith says that's a milestone try. And Melbourne are level at 16 all after they trailed 16-0 less than 10 minutes ago. Game 250 for Cam Munster, and he scores as this game continues on a weird swing of momentum, one-way green, then one-way purple.
We've had enough momentum swings for a whole game of football, but the game's only been going 29 minutes. Great work by Cameron Munster. It's his day. He did a tremendous job there of just going hard and straight. And that's been the difference for the Melbourne Storm to turn this momentum. They are running harder and they're running straighter, not so much going sideways.
Well, it's always a big moment. You get to run out with your kids. The banner is there, and listen to the crowd, Coase. They realise the moment for Cam Munster.
Oh, look. It's quite amazing, really, when you listen to the crowd that is here for Cam Munster. It's not a huge crowd, and I think you're probably right. It's going to be mid-teens, but you can see he's got a special jersey embroidered with the gold embroidery as well. We saw his kids walking off with the 250, the money 250, and at the moment he's on the money.
Adrian from Warrigal texts, typical Raiders, one error begets another. Kirk from Townsville says, are the Raiders trying to give Ricky a heart attack? 0467 920 222 to get your thoughts through on the text. And now Fa'alongo can put Melbourne in front if he kicks this conversion. It's midway goal line and left touch and about 16 metres out. 16-0 Raiders after 18 minutes. And now we hit 29 minutes and it's 16-0. Fa'alongo's conversion hits the near upright and ricochets away. No goal. No goal.
The scoreboard's beating the clock at this stage.
Yep, 32 points in 29 minutes of rugby league.
Unbelievable. It's been a bizarre game of football so far. We've still got 15 minutes to go, Q.
So yeah, it only took them, I reckon, 10 minutes of clock time, the Storm, to erase that deficit. 16-0 after 18 minutes, and now we're in the 29th minute, and it's 16-all. So Kyo Weeks is going to restart for Canberra. It's NRL Sunday on ABC Sport, and we've got a triple treat for you today. We've already had the Warriors beating the Cowboys across the ditch. We've got the Roosters and Cronulla Sutherland from the Footy Stadium to come after this. Alec McDonald with the first carry off the restart gets to the 10. Now Cooper Clark left edge. About 6 metres for the young Tyro on that carry. Howarth's turn to take it forward, one man to the right of the ruck, midway goal line, halfway when stopped. Plays the ball to Grant, give it to Liero through the hands to the right. Hughes onto Fa'alongo, passes out to the edge and Chan's cut down and a nice tackle by Timokor. Melbourne 8 from halfway, ball played to Grant, right edge, he passes left in centre field onto Hughes. Gave it on to Lasati, who'll be put on his back by 3 Canberra defenders, that's 5. Last play here for Melbourne, right in the middle of their home deck. It's give it to Hughes for a right-footed bomb downfield. Again, Warbrick beats Tamale. Tamale catches, Warbrick couldn't really get there on that occasion, and Timokor ran a really smart line, not to be a disruptor, yet at the same time do enough to ensure that Warbrick had to take 2 or 3 extra steps to try and get to that contest. Very well played. You won't really see that, but that was very clever from Matt Timokor.
Yeah, he just ran straight back. He immediately ran straight back to where Tamale was going to take that ball. That was smart play by Timokor.
Hudson Young now brought down just short of the 30. He'll play the football here. Paddy passes right, out towards the right edge. Weeks, he runs into the defensive Munster, drags him down one-on-one. Good tackle. 20 in from touch on the right. Chris passes infield. And a high kick from Sanders downfield at the end of the set. No one wanted to catch it on the full. It bounces about 25 from the goal line, then rolls to the 10, which is where Fa'alongo was positioned. He takes it, runs into the defensive line and back to about 25 from that northern in-goal area. Melbourne 16, Canberra 16. Quentin Hull, Ryan Hoffman and Ian Cohen with you for NRL Sunday on ABC Sport as Warbrick runs beyond the 30. And now Leo for Melbourne. Oh, he pushes away from Sanders. Great run. Smithies eventually drags him down. Leo, though, gets beyond halfway. Plays at 45 out left edge. Pass to the right from Grant to Liero. Now Hughes on a straightening run. Almost sliced through a gap, but Horsburgh there was Young to stop him. 30 out. Quick play the ball. Grant picks up, runs 10 metres, bounces out of a tackle. Harry Grant passes to the left for Munster. On the 20, passes to the edge for Howard. Over the 20. Draw and pass to the wing for Leo. Gets inside Chris before the right side defence led by Hosking of Canberra. Stops him 8 metres out. Melbourne coming at him again here. Munster shapes the kick, but he doesn't. Passes to Hughes. They're disorganised now. It's the last play. Hughes eventually just puts up a hoping bomb. Warbrick leaps, catches, passes infield. No one there for the purple, taken by Tamale. Canberra's ball. Tamale eventually wrestled to deck just beyond the 20, Hoffy.
Yeah, Will Warbrick had to run forward because he thought Munster was actually going to kick the ball, but he passed. So Hughes had to wait for Warbrick to come back on side, and then he still went forward and caught the ball.
It just looks very disorganised there, but anyway, Aldo Mariotta's out there, so Morgan Smithies has come on, Aldo Mariotta as well. Couple of Ricky's replacements out there for the Raiders, 8 from halfway. Now to the right, Strange feeds Chris, good tackle. Oh no, he got through the Howarth tackle, kept going, got up, and McDonald had to finish him off. Nice run from Chris, 35 out, Raiders on the attack to the right. Paddy gives it on there to Strange, but he's held up and will play the foot. Hold on, was there a lost ball in there? There must have been. Referee Smith found something wrong with that. And Ethan Strange is immediately going to challenge.
Oh, I don't think this is a good challenge.
Run tackle 4 from Canberra. On-field decision, upright tackle. Ball carrier loses in on Melbourne defender before I go to the release call.
So Ethan Strange.
He bobbled it, but he only regathered it because it was up against Clark's body.
Just the 6 minutes across the footbridge on Wednesday night. 16 minutes.
Cooper Clark's entitled to have his hand on the ball here. He's defending it. As identified on field, there's been no release call. There's no stripping action from Cooper Clark. It's a loose carry and the challenge is unsuccessful.
And Chris Butler in the bunker agrees with you, Hoffy.
That was one of the quickest bunker decisions I think we've ever seen too.
Got a text here saying send us your name. Oh, no, it was Cheryl. G'day, Cheryl from Orient Point. She says, I could not come to watch a Melbourne home match as I would dong the cowbell fan. We get that.
The bell started from Stephen Bell.
Oh, really? All those
player.
years ago?
Yeah, that's how it was. They had a bell for belly.
Right.
And the bell stayed.
The cowbell's almost as well characteristic of this venue as the Thunderstruck riff before the game. Anyway, 16-all the scoreline, 6.5 to half-time. Udoika Manu rumbles his way forward, ricochets off Paddy, but there are 4 other Raiders around him to stop him. Big Stefano to play at a dozen Melbourne side of halfway. Grant passes one man to the left for Liero. Put down, 20 in from left touch and 5 inside Melbourne territory. Grant there in the purple headgear at dummy half to feed right to Munster. Runs, dummies, feeds Hughes on the inside line. Dances away from Paddy, but can't get away from Sanders. The Canberra halfback makes the tackle in company with Smithies. Melbourne to play at centre field and 45 out. Liero once more. He's been up for some good work, hasn't he, today? Taken down there. Oh, he's lost it, though, just as we give him a wrap. Loose carry from Trent Liero. And that's a let-off for the Raiders with Melbourne on the precipice, dare I say it, of another attack.
It's a very quick challenge by Harry Grant.
Did you hear the pre-game show today? No. Boys were going on about precipice.
Precipice.
How
to spell it.
On the cusp.
The cusp.
Yep.
Yeah, well, that tackle wasn't complete on this one.
So 5 minutes and 55 seconds left on the clock for the first half, and a challenge here from the Storm. So the Raiders have just burnt their challenge for a similar incident a moment ago.
Cleared all the contact from the Canberra defenders. It's not high.
So looking at Trent Liero. Owen Paddy's got his arm around the ball. Adam Mariotta's in the tackle, so too's Hudson Young. We're just waiting to see if there's a stripping action from Paddy, I think. So, and the
hands on the ball, but I don't...
Owen Paddy's again entitled to defend the ball.
Oh, he doesn't.
He's just locked on the ball without a stripping motion. It's a loose carry from Trent Liero. The challenge is unsuccessful.
I reckon that is a very, very clever play from Owen Paddy. He did not strip the ball from Trent Liero, but he pushed it out of his hand. Yeah. And as soon as he pushed it out of his hand, he moved his hand away as if to say, no stripping motion, referee.
It wasn't an aggressive rip out where it's obvious to see the arm. He just pulled it with his hand.
Do you agree with the way I described that?
Definitely.
So I reckon that is very clever from Paddy, and well, both teams have burnt their challenge. Now the Raiders 10 their own side of halfway off the scrum, go to the right, and there's a run from Kyo Weeks. And the Raiders fans get excited for a moment before he's tackled 40 metres out. 16-all the scoreline in a seesawing first half here where Canberra scored the first 3 tries, only for Melbourne to score the next 3. Back to the centre third, Smithies tackled 40 out. Now Horsburgh down Main Street. And Big Red for Canberra in the green. He's going to be held up 30 metres out. Plays the ball to Paddy. Passes right through the hands of Sanders to Strange. Strange tries to wrestle away from Grant and Munster. It's like he's back at the G on Wednesday night, but he's put down 30 metres out. Plays it there to Paddy. Burrows out a dummy half. Got tackled. Chucks it out the back. Took a Melbourne touch. 6 more. Smithies passes to the left edge for Young. Hudson Young put down. Canberra on the attack. 21 metres out. Paddy jumps out a dummy half. Passes right for Smithies. Gives it on to Mariotta. Mariotta with 3 defenders around him. Is going to be held up and eventually put to the deck. 20 in from touch on the right and a dozen from the Melbourne line. 16-all the score as it's given to Horsburgh, centre third. Flops out a loose offload. Picked up, kept alive. Give it to Young on the left edge. And Hudson Young is brought down by the Melbourne defence. But he's only 9 metres from that northern in goal. Paddy distributes right in centre field as Sanders pops it up for Smithies back against the grain. Runs into Alec McDonald, who makes the tackle along with Lasati. Couple of plays left for Canberra. 10 metres out to the right through the hands. Horsburgh onto Sanders to Weeks. Good tackle from Howarth one-on-one. Puts him down, and Weeks will play it. It's passed back to the left for Strange. Floating ball to the left for Timokor. Matt Timokor buffets through a couple of tackles and scores a try. Matt Timokor goes over in the left corner, and Canberra return to the lead. Ethan Sanders just finding a way to get the ball to the left edge. And Timokor goes in for his 4th try of the season. 20 points to 16, kick to come.
Well, I'm surprised it's taken Canberra Raiders so long to attack to their left side, attacking the right edge of Warbrick and Chan, because Timokor just gave Chan an absolute bath there, a bit of a shimmy shake, and he's just burning for speed. So they've scored 3 tries down that edge. I just don't understand why they aren't going there more.
Dare I say it, Koza, this is the kind of game, with no disrespect, that looks like a team that's won 5 games playing a team that's won only 6 games.
Yes, well, that's exactly right. Yeah. So, I mean, the seesawing nature of this game is quite bizarre because while it is, pretty good on the scoreboard, there's been a few mistakes. Some of them capitalised on it, but there's been a lot of other broken play that shouldn't really have happened, but Canberra in particular have made the absolute most of it.
I know you like a bit of poetry in your sport, Koza. The gear steward from Kalenga, he comes up with lots of lines, some of them good, some of them not so good. I like this one. He said, this is the Wimbledon matchup.
Yes, correct. It's the green and the purple.
This is the championships.
Yes, it is. It's the Lawn Tennis Association.
Ethan Sanders from out on the left. Again, not too far from where he had a couple of shots earlier in the half. This one is, again, missing to the near side. And he's only got 2 from 4 off the kicking tee. Canberra 20, Melbourne 16, 2.5 to the break.
I think both coaches are absolutely desperate to get their teams in at half-time and just to settle them down, because it's for momentum to swing this much, because teams are clocking off. They're not competing enough throughout the period of the half. So I think both coaches, Ricky Stewart and Craig Bellamy, they want to get hold of their players and get them to settle down, but also get to understand that their effort needs to be a full 40-minute effort.
Earlier today, Warriors 38, Cowboys 20 will go full around the grounds shortly. There's only 2.5 minutes to the break here. Restart is again well inside the field of play. They're quite shallow, these restarts from Melbourne today. Tamale catches at 8 from his own line. Gives to Horsburgh, who's tackled 15 metres from the southern end that the Green Machine's defending. Now Tamale, who scored the first try of the game on an infield run up to the 20, meets the tackle there predominantly of Liero. Given to the right from Mariotta. One out run from Arda Mariotta down the middle third. That's a good gain of a dozen. Nice carry from the ponytailed bench forward for the Green Machine. Paddy gives it right. Weeks looks dangerous. Passes to Hosking on the right edge. Good tackle, though, out there by Munster to bring him down just before halfway. Played to Paddy, gives it blindside to Weeks. Buffets off one, chucks the ball back infield to Hosking. Running laterally across halfway before being stopped. On 5 and 45 metres from the Melbourne line, that tackle made by Alec McDonald. Paddy with a kick out of dummy half at the end of the set. It rolls to Fa'alongo, takes it, defensive left corner on his goal line, draws a man and then passes. Leo's away, up to the 30, to the 40, to halfway, runs into Weeks. Weeks did enough to knock him over and then completes the tackle. Played 45 out. Crowd was saying, oh, wasn't that a double grab? Well, no, he's got to complete the tackle. That's why Weeks went again, because Leo could have got up and kept on going. Anyway, ref rightly set play on. McDonald tackled 30 out. Now he plays it, give it to Udo Wikamanu, who rolls down the middle third and has stopped 25 from the Canberra line. Inside the last minute of this seesawing half, there's almost some kind of symmetry about Melbourne scoring again here to lock it up. We'll wait and see. Munster stop. 15 out. Played to Grant. Run that to line. Passes right for Hughes. Gives it on to Lasardi. 3 around him, so he decided not to give the right-handed offload at the end of that little play there. Last play. Grant dummies out of dummy half. Draws contact. Passes to Lasardi. Right side wrap. Fa'alongo to Warbrick. Warbrick gets the ball down despite 2 defenders around him. They score 3, we'll score 3. They score 1, we'll score 1. Kick to come, 20 all, half-time, all bar the conversion attempt. Will Warbrick's second try of this seesawing first half.
This is an amazing half of football. It's going to be, it could be 42 points scored in this half. What an effort there by Fa'alongo just to set up his winger on a kick return, and Moses Leo showing the speed that he is absolutely blessed with. Got a good play the ball, and then Harry Grant on the last tackle noticed someone, the marker was offside, ran straight at Hudson Young, got the 6 again. They didn't need it. Great hands by Fa'alongo again, and Will Warbrick, he showed good strength to get that ball over the line.
So Warbrick now has 13 tries for the season, and Well, Ian Cohen, this has been quite the half of footy here.
It certainly has. I'm just noticing Sewer's not taking the kick, though. Obviously, Harry Grant has come on, and he is also dispatched with the headgear as well. So he's going to be taking this kick. But Warbrick could have gone in the corner. He chose to come inboard. There was a lot more defenders there. And suddenly, to Hoffy's point, he had to be very strong because I reckon he was a metre short and had to reach out. So had he gone for the corner, probably would have been acrobatically getting in. But he came inboard and still managed to be able to put it down. Just as a quick note too, Storm are wearing black armbands to commemorate Tino for Malawi's dad, who obviously Tino had a couple of seasons here back in 19 and 20 as well.
Yep, thanks for that, Ian. So last play of the half is this conversion attempt for Harry Grant. Canberra scoring on 3 minutes, 9 minutes and 18 minutes to lead 16-0. Melbourne bouncing back with tries on 22 minutes, 25 minutes and 29 minutes to make it 16-all. Raiders scored a short time ago for 20-16. Now it's 20-all, kick to come, right on half-time. This for better than a point a minute? No, it's going to be right on a point a minute. Harry Grant misses that, got nowhere near it in fact, hooks it across the face. We've played 40 and we've got 40 points. Split between the purple and the green. Half-time, Melbourne 20, Canberra 20, Warbrick, Lasati and Munster the try scorers. Warbrick has 2, while for the Raiders, Tamale, Paddy, Savage and Timokor the try scorers. As far as the kickers are concerned, Fayalonga kicked 2 from 3 before Grant missed that one. For Melbourne, Sanders has kicked 2 from 4. Do your best, Hoffy. Explain that to me.
The scoreline's a fair indication of the game. To be honest, it really is. Like
both teams are equally as bad, or both teams are equally as good at taking their momentum?
Yeah, I think both teams are equally as bad and equally as good, because what the teams are, when they're bad, they're very bad. Like there's some poor defensive efforts by the Melbourne Storm. There's been some poor execution by the Canberra Raiders. On the flip side, when they execute with the football, there has been some scintillating rugby league. Well, there's been some great tries scored and some great efforts that they're putting in, but it's just not consistent. I mean, the side that's going to win is going to be the one that can play at least for 26 minutes consistently, because, to be honest, it's been half and half that first half. Yeah. That makes sense. Half and half that first half. Yeah, what am I saying here?
I know what you're saying. Yeah. It's been a half and half kind of half. Ryan Hoffman with you on NRL Sunday on ABC Sport. Earlier, the Warriors 38 beat North Queensland 20. We'll preview the Roosters and Cronulla in just a moment. But before we get to the news and to Spriggy, around the grounds in the New South Wales Cup, the Panthers have beaten North Sydney 30-16. Second half, Newtown 24 lead the Roosters 0. New South Wales Women's, Knights beat the Tigers 20-14. Queensland Cup, Northern Pride 32 lead the PNG Hunters 12. That's a second half score. AFL third quarter, Western Bulldogs 8-9-57, lead St Kilda 6-7-43. That's at Docklands after across the footbridge earlier today. North Melbourne defeated Richmond. In the Super Netball semi-finals, third quarter, Melbourne Mavericks 32, lead the West Coast Fever 31. And the last of the games in the World Cup soccer today, big win for the Samurai Blue. Japan 4, Tunisia 0. Here it's 20-all at half-time in Melbourne. Hope you're enjoying NRL Sunday with us. Your texts continue to be welcome on 0467 920 222. More to come after the news.
Hello, this is ABC News with David Rowlands. The President of the Shire of Esperance in southern WA says local councils should be at the forefront of the campaign to educate the community about bird flu. A deadly strain of avian influenza is now confirmed to be present in Australia after birds taken from a beach near the WA town returned positive tests for the virus. Ron Chambers says while he applauds federal and state government websites aimed at raising awareness around bird flu, councils must not be excluded from the effort.
I think it's going to be really important to get that out in a way that the community can understand it so that they don't go looking for information from somewhere else. Typically some of the social media sites, even some of the information that you see on there now is quite laughable.
The Prime Minister says extending a cut to the fuel excise for another month at a lower rate will provide certainty. In April, the 32 cents per litre fuel excise was cut for 3 months in response to the war in Iran and the closure of the Strait of Hormuz. Anthony Albanese has told Sky that the discount will be tapered down to 16 cents per litre from July the 1st and the 2nd of August.
Well, a step down will ensure certainty. We have worked very hard to ensure there is now more petrol, more diesel and more jet fuel in Australia than there was on the 28th of February when this conflict began.
US Vice President JD Vance has arrived in Switzerland for peace talks with Iran, expected to begin later today, despite Tehran saying it's reclosed the key Strait of Hormuz following continued Israeli air attacks against Hezbollah in Lebanon. More on those negotiations from the BBC's Thomas Morgan in Washington.
It'll be focused on the nuclear situation in Iran, which is the whole reason behind why the US went into this conflict with Iran. They wanted to curb the amount of enriched uranium Iran had to make sure they couldn't produce any nuclear weapons. So the discussions now will be around decreasing the nuclear stockpile that Iran have. And it will also be centred, JD Vance says, around the Lebanon-Israel situation, making sure that ceasefire is maintained.
The US Federal Aviation Administration is investigating a close call between two commercial flights that were in danger of colliding at Boston Logan International Airport yesterday. According to the FAA and flight logs, a Delta Airlines flight from Dallas had to abort its landing and execute a go-around in order to avoid an American Airlines plane departing from an intersecting runway. The Delta flight, which had 129 passengers and 6 crew members on board, later landed safely. Sydney's Bondi Beach has reopened after a shark was sighted close to shore this afternoon. Surveillance drones operated by Surf Lifesaving New South Wales detected the shark at around 2 p.m. local time. Several other Sydney beaches, including Maroubra, Mona Vale and Avalon, were closed after shark sightings, and all have reopened, apart from Avalon on the northern beaches of Sydney. Earlier, hundreds of people took part in an ocean swim at Coogee Beach this morning in support of shark attack victim Leah Stewart, who was mauled last weekend and remains in intensive care in hospital. Still in New South Wales, where 2 people have died in a car crash on the state's south coast. Police say the cars collided around 1:30 this afternoon local time on the Kings Highway, around 15 kilometres northwest of Batemans Bay. Both drivers died at the scene and are yet to be formally identified. A crime scene has been established as police investigate the incident. The Kings Highway remains closed in both directions. To sport, and Australian winger Matthew Leckie is being assessed after suffering an injury during the Socceroos' loss to the USA yesterday. Tom Wildey has more from Oakland.
Leckie was forced off the field midway through the second half and was visibly hindered in his movement. The veteran is being assessed ahead of the Socceroos' clash with Paraguay on Thursday local time. A draw will be enough to send Australia through to the knockout rounds in second spot, while a loss will see them waiting to find out where they will travel. The Socceroos have a day off tomorrow before resuming preparations on Monday. Tom Wildey, ABC Sport, Oakland.
Meantime, the FIFA World Cup match between Ecuador and Curacao has ended in a scoreless draw at Kansas City Stadium. Earlier, Germany came from a goal down to beat Côte d'Ivoire 2-1 in Toronto, and the Netherlands thrashed Sweden 5-1 in Houston. And American golfer Wyndham Clark has a 6-shot lead heading into the final round of the US Open at Shinnecock Hills. The 32-year-old is 7 under par after 3 rounds with compatriot Scotty Scheffler in a 4-way tie for second place. Now Australians made the cut, the first time that's happened since 1959.
Tammy Shipley believed someone was out to hurt her. She's put under 24-hour surveillance, and then something strange happens.
Ambulance emergency.
Tammy's story. Search background briefing on ABC Listen.
ABC sports coverage of the 2026 NRL Premiership.
Canberra centre field and a dozen out. Paddy runs out of dummy half, gives it to Strange. On to Sanders. Sanders to Strange. To Timokor on the edge. He passes to the wing for Tamale, and Canberra score. 11 from the Raiders line. Now out of dummy half, tail out, blindside, Munster. Second man onto Howarth. Intercept. Put your glasses down. Xavier Savage had a fumble, had a catch, and then does a Usain Bolt impersonation over 80 metres and runs the length to score. Last place Stormer, Cavill out to the right, Hughes chucks it to Failongo. Got it along the grass to Warbrick, who dives over in the corner. And Melbourne get one back. Howard plays it quickly though. Leo passes infield to Munster. Goes himself at his 250th. Milestone money. Has the Mad Dog got it down? Referee Smith says that's a milestone try. It's passed back to the left for Strange. Floating ball to the left for Timokor. Matt Timokor buffets through a couple of tackles and scores a try. Matt Timokor goes over in the left corner and Canberra return to the lead. Last play, Grant dummies out a dummy half. Draws contact, passes to the side, right side wrap, fail long on to Warbrick. Warbrick gets the ball down despite two defenders around him. They score three, we'll score three. They score one, we'll score one.
ABC Sports coverage of the NRL Premiership on your radio, ABC Sport Digital Radio
and ABC Listen.
There's been plenty of, well, entertainment, if you want to call it that. 40 points in the first 40 minutes of play here. Depends how you want your rugby league. Quentin Hull and the team with you here. Ryan Hoffman alongside me. Ian Cohen on the touchline. And it's 20 each. 4 tries apiece. There's been some questionable defence and ball handling. But these two teams who, as we mentioned, were expected to be right among the pace setters in 2026, but have had in different seasons to date. They, well, have shown why. They have only won 11 games between them to this point of the season. Raiders 16-0 after 18 minutes. Storm with the next 3 tries to get it to 16 all. And then traded tries. Timokor putting the Raiders in front before Warbrick second. Levelled it up. It's 20 all at half time. Earlier on, the Warriors defeated North Queensland by 38 points to 20. That game at the new Christchurch Stadium. And to come, we will be taking you to the Sydney Football Stadium where the Roosters will take on Cronulla Sutherland, the Sunday evening game in this round 16. Brett Sprigg will call that game with Dean Hallertau and Michael Karianis. As far as news from the teams, Nico Hines back in at half-back wearing jumper number 22 for the Sharks. Blake Brayley returning to football in jumper 21 will start at hooker for Cronulla Sutherland. So there'll be a lot of Blues fans and storylines around Origin in general looking at that. I think it's only less than 4 weeks since he had that arm injury. So he's got some pretty heavy strapping around there. So Brayley starts, Hines starts for the Sharks, and just Adam Fanua-Blake is indeed backing up from State of Origin and is the starting team for Cronulla. While for the Roosters, Tedesco's there, Nwanganetawaze is there, Walker is there, Robson is there, Collins is there, Radley is there. All of the Origin boys are going to start for the Roosters. So looking forward to seeing what can come of that game once we finish up here. So Brett Sprigg, Dean Hallertau and Michael Karianis will bring you that game as soon as we wrap things up here. Well, Hoffy, we sort of had a bit of a chat in the break. What are the coaches? How do you straighten things up? And at the same time, we know that Ricky Stewart and Craig Bellamy they're not modern day coaches where they'll sort of go in and say, oh, look, well, it's even after a half a footy. Forget it, wash your hands of it and go play the next 40 and win it. If you had two coaches that actually would get really grumpy about what they've just seen, it's the two coaches coaching today.
Well, how I think they would have approached this, I've got a bit of an idea on how they might approach it. Both coaches, Craig Bellamy and Ricky Stewart, and I was fortunate enough to be coached by both of those guys. I reckon they would have started off with a bit of tactically of what they need to do. You know, what the tactics they want to run, how they want to attack, how they want to defend. And I reckon they would have finished it by tearing the absolute paint off the walls. So the last thing those blokes hear is something to do with a lot more effort, of flat-out effort. So he got the technical stuff out of the way, then he just wants to see a full-on proper effort by all those guys, because both teams had periods in their game where their effort just wasn't good enough.
And let's be honest, they'll either Canberra or Melbourne have to get on a really good run at the back end of the season to potentially stay in the fight for the bottom part of the 8. But they've got to, these are the games that they've got to win.
But neither team's playing desperate like they want to play finals football. Right from what they tossed up throughout that first half, through periods they might have, but not consistently throughout that half of football. And as I said before half time, 20 all was an accurate description of the first half.
Your thoughts continue to be welcome on the SMS 0467 920 222. Here's a quick one from Dan in Bendigo. He says, one for Hoffy. Do you think the increased pace of the game has led to the Storm being mid-table? Although they are trying to adapt when it's the foundations are defence and discipline, it's just more difficult with the pace of the game.
I disagree with that. I think, look, the Melbourne Storm have been hit very hard in the depth. They lost 6 players in the pre-season who they did not expect to lose, and they're starting first graders. And at the start of last season, they didn't expect that they would go into the next season without those guys. So I think they've really struggled, and I think Melbourne Storm depth has been tested this year. I think that's contributed more to it rather than the pace of the game.
Yeah, okay. Thanks for that. So there you go, Dan. 0467 920 222 to get in touch. Still got remnants of natural light around, but certainly the floodlights of the stadium taking over at ground level here as referee Todd Smith throws a pass to Kyo Weeks, and he's going to kick off, and this second half is imminent. It was, well, a momentum swinging first half. Do we get into the grind? Big stakes for these two teams. If they want to be a part of the fight in 2026, this 40 minutes is really going to count. Raiders kick off, McDonald with the kick return for the Storm. Melbourne now running to the left of your radio dial to the Slater stand end in this second half. McDonald gets to the 10, and now that's Udawikamanu with a very, very strong run. 5 post-contact metres after charging 10 upfield. Give him 15 on the run as Grant feeds it onto Liero in the middle third. Trent Liero tackled 15 inside the southern half that Melbourne are defending in this second half. Munster receives and offers it up to the run of Howarth. Jack Howarth has taken down Melbourne 4 metres inside their own territory. Granted dummy half gives to McDonald. Second good carry of the set for Alec McDonald. Stopped on 43 metres from the Canberra line. End of the first set of the second half, and Hughes puts up a towering bomb. Defensive left corner. Tomala did a really good job to catch that despite Warbrick running at him. Diffuses the bomb, takes the tackle. Canberra start this set. Their first of the second half. A dozen from their own line. Timokor goes on a little left side scoot. I was about to go down to Ian for his half-time report, but when you see Matt Timokor having a little blindside snipe, just hold your powder for a moment there, Koza. This game has, by the way, shown us plenty of tries from unlikely positions. Young has a run, and now it's Horsburgh tackle 4. Loses it. Here's your chance, Koza, and a chance for Melbourne off that mistake. Horsburgh with the error. Melbourne to get a scrum at 40 from the Raiders line. What are the words from the rooms?
Well, I tell you what, this game is totally unpredictable. Totally unpredictable, so I don't blame you at all, Q. The nighttime dew is starting to come down, so the ball might be a little bit slipperier. Repeat the efforts, replicate the effort. That was from the Raiders room, and from Melbourne Storm it was about urgency, a bit more urgency, and I would interpret that as a bit less standing around, which we have seen from Melbourne Storm players, certainly in the first 10 or 15 minutes.
I think we got a great indication of what the message was from the Melbourne Storm. Was a carry there by Stefano Utoikamanu on the second tackle after the kickoff. He was straight off the back fence going a million miles an hour.
And a big hit in defence there causes the error from Horsburgh. So the intent of the purple on display. They win the scrum. First carry, Chan up to the 30, and here goes Stefano once more. No great gain this time for Udawikamanu, met by solid defence. Horsburgh, who made the error quite decidedly, trying to make up for it there with a good tackle. Now here goes McDonald, and Big Red's there again along with Smithies. Makes the tackle, but the Storm are 15 out. Grant passes right for Hughes, gives it on to Liero. Hits and spins, thought of the offload, but his arm is wrapped up around 3 Canberra defenders. And Melbourne will play the ball here. Only 8 from the Canberra line. A bit slow to get up here, Trent Liero. Feeling at his mouth or his cheek. He's talking to the referee, and Todd Smith says play the ball. So he does now. Grant gives it to Hughes. Lateral to the left. On to Munster, 10 from the line, but Hosking wraps him up. Cam Munster with already a try to his name in his 250th game for Melbourne. Last play here. Grant out of dummy half, shapes right, gives left to Howarth. Tries the basketball pass. It got intercepted. Back into the hands of Grant, but Grant's knocked it on, has he? No, it is a handover. For a moment I thought Harry Grant had got on the end of that. So did the Melbourne fans. Help me, Hoffy, Koza. Raiders have got it.
Yeah,
What was the call?
I thought when Howarth went to go to pass over the top, Canberra knocked it forward and Harry Grant dived on it. But I don't think he thought the ball went forward by Canberra, and Harry Grant got tackled on the 5th turnover.
Okay, Raiders with the ball. 20 all, early stages of the second half here. Quentin Hull, Ryan Hoffman and Ian Cohen with you as Atta Mariotta taken 15 from that northern in goal for the Raiders. Plays the ball there to Paddy, give it to Horsburgh, who's tackled around the hips by Liero and up top by Hughes. Horsburgh on the 20, blindside, a little run from Paddy, but Hughes at marker there wraps him up with help from Liero. Midway goal line and halfway when he plays it there. Passed infield at the end of the set for Strange. A high kick downfield from the Blues playmaker. Taken on the bounce by Leo on the 30. Gives it to Failong, or bounces out of Hosking to can't get past the tackle of Smithies. And the Storm will start this set in a good field position, only 10 from halfway. Leo with an energetic run. He's been pretty good today, barring an odd mistake. But Moses Leo stopped 45 metres from the Canberra line. Now Howarth churns down the middle third. There was space for him down Main Street. Melbourne just looking like they've started this second half a little the better. He's tackled 30 out. Grant out a dummy half, runs himself, picked up and dumped by Paddy. He made mincemeat of him. Paddy on that occasion. Good tackle, and Grant will play it. 20 metres out to the right, Liero passes to Hughes, gives it on to Chan, tries to step past Timmacore, but Timmacore makes contact. Got help out there from Strange, and the tackle is made. Now into the set. Hughes, very shallow bomb to the right, caught by Warbrick. He's in tight near the touch line, near players. Chucked it in field, and then penalty goes to Canberra. Picked up by... Lasardi was in an offside position or something.
Yeah, I think someone was just inside that 10-metre line.
And Harry Grant doesn't look great in back play. Ian Cohen, down to you.
Yeah, he certainly doesn't. It's a right hip or some problem with his right leg. I can see it. He's really hobbling and hobbling terribly. So he's unable to loosen it up or have any sort of effect. The trainers will get out to him shortly. Wishart, of course, is on the bench and has returned to the team. And
sorry to go with the crowd over the top of you there, but just saw that replay of the tackle. So the Paddy tackle was fine, and it looked like he landed on his hip, Harry Grant, but then it was a Canberra player came in and put a left forearm on his schnoz. And just... that's what they were oohing and ahhing about. Anyway, Canberra's got the ball now. Still 20 all, no change to the halftime score line. We've played 6 minutes of this second half. Raiders almost a halfway on the run there of Sanders. Now directed left. Strange gives it on to Timmacore. And Timmacore tackled but flicks it infield to Young. Lasardi's in his face. Makes half a tackle. Young flips out an offload. And Tamale receives. Found a passage infield. Gains 10 metres before being stopped. 40 from the Storm line. Paddy out a dummy half. Gives it right for Horsburgh. Running laterally. About 35 from the Storm line. Now he straightens and gets decked. 31 metres from that southern in-goal area. Horsburgh plays it to Paddy. Blindside right. Gives it on to Sanders from 30 out. It's a shallow left-footed bomb, which will come down 15 from the goal line. Or Hosking leaps, knocks it backwards, cleaned up by Paddy. Paddy grubbers for the in-goal for Canberra. Hughes is there. Fields it near the dead ball line. Chucks a pass while being tackled to Failong, who gets into the field of play. And he's tackled 5 metres from the black dot. Well, brave understatement.
I tell you, Craig has had his health problems, but he nearly had a heart attack right then for that flick pass from Jerome Hughes inside of his own in-goal.
With 2 tacklers around him. Boy, now Udawika Manu, he's making a statement this second half. He runs beyond the 30. Storm with it. 20 all the score line, early stages second half. Good offload there. Gives Hughes a chance to play on. He got past there to Liero. That was Failonga returning the favour, by the way. He gave that little flip pass there. Liero stopped near halfway. End of set for Melbourne. Bomb goes up from Hughes. It's caught by Warbrick. Gives it on to Chan. 20 metres out, but immediately Chan is tackled by Tamale, and that is a handover.
Yeah, some great efforts there. Great effort by Warbrick to go up for that ball and then pass it to Chan, but an equally great effort by Tamale just to get a ball and all tackle on Chan to avoid that offload, because there were Melbourne Storm players streaking down the field.
Former Kangaroos, Blues and Storm great Ryan Hoffman with you on NRL Sunday at ABC Sport. I'm Quentin Hull, Ian Cohen's on the touchline. 20 all the score line here, and you don't need to go anywhere for the third and final game of this Sunday, the final game of the round, with Brett Sprigg and the team bringing you the Roosters and Cronulla next.
I tell you what, Harry Grant is on one leg here, but he is powering through like an absolute, like the great leader that he is, because he is struggling, but he is still putting kick pressure on. He is still filling on the inside.
Hosking tackled Canberra with the ball, a metre inside their own half. Paddy directs it left through the hands of Horsburgh, onto Sanders to Strange, steps off his left. Hughes got around his hip to do enough before he got tackled over the top by Liero. And that's 5. Last play for Ethan Strange and the Raiders, left edge, 40 out. Given to Sanders with a high left foot bomb at the end of the set. Again, Failonga runs at this one and catches it brilliantly. And he's tackled immediately, 15 from his own line. And the Storm crowd like that. And Cohen down on the touchline.
Yeah, they certainly didn't, but they didn't like the treatment afterwards. And Failonga's certainly feeling it after that heavy tackle afterwards. And I tell you what, Storm has been blessed with fullbacks, and we talk about the 250 gamer Cameron Munster, who's got the ball now. He started at fullback as well. Jerome Hughes being flamboyant back there, and now Saw Failonga.
And down on the touchline, 31 minutes left in this game. 20 all the scoreline. Melbourne up to halfway, and a good carry there from Hetherington, who's out on the field. Given to the left for Clark. Cooper Clark, he's tackled, and get up and play it on 5. Left edge and 38 metres from the Canberra line. Hughes kicks for the Leo wing at the end of the set, but it's caught by Weeks. Leo was charging down that broadcast side, but Weeks was well placed, offensive right corner to catch it. Canberra with the ball, 10 from their own line as it's fed infield to the fellow mulleted Savage. But he can't get through, and Xavier Savage will play it here for the Green Machine, 15 from their own goal line. Now Tamale breaks through one tackle before being stopped. Did he get through there? He got through Chan before being tackled by Hetherington, I think it was. And a ruck infringement here from the Storm. 6 more tackles for Canberra, which will be much welcomed for the Green Machine. They start the restart of the tackle count, 10 their own side of halfway. Get to halfway on the carry of Tarpany. Plays at middle of the park. Paddy's pass left. Well, went between a couple. They're very disorganised here, the Raiders. Eventually, Strange picks it up, looks in field, then Buffett's left, gives to Timokor. Timokor gets through Hughes, but can't get through Warbrick, and he tries a pass to the edge, which is knocked on. Timokor had Tamale there, and he had visions of grandeur of a late offload, but it turned out to be loose and forward, and another Canberra opportunity goes begging. And we remain scoreless through 10 minutes of this half after we had 40 points and 20 each in the 40 minutes of the first half.
They have, I tell you what, the left edge for the Canberra Raiders, Tamale and Timokor, they've looked dangerous every single time they have touched the football. And look, the Raiders just need to keep feeding them. I like Ethan Strange taking the line on, skipping across, and then feeding it to Timokor because he's really good one-on-one.
Storm in the scrum on their own 30, and here's Munster. Tackled 10 from halfway. Yep, Ian mentioned as we did in the call. Started at fullback up in Townsville in his debut game, round 12, 2014. Game 250 of his club career. He can add 30 rep games as well, 23 in maroon and 7 in the green and gold for Cameron Munster, the Queensland skipper, as the Storm go into attacking territory. Here's Munster again, receiving midfield. Passes right through Liero. Quick hands to Hughes, to Failonga. Passes to the edge for Chan. Chan is bulldog to deck. Ball lost, was it? Yep, it was. Hudson Young with the tackle, immediately looked at the referee and said, hold on, that was a mistake from Chan, and Todd Smith agrees. Another mistake. I mean, really, this is the beaten grand finalist and the minor premiers of last year. A week's a long time in footy. Well, in 9 months is even longer.
Yeah, I tell you what, there's been a few errors in this second half, but the intensity has picked up. The intensity was quite low in that first half, but the intensity's gone up to 10 here from both teams. There's a bit more in the tackles. There's a bit more running hard, a hell of a lot harder than what they were doing in the first half.
27.5 minutes left in the game. Scrum feed for Canberra here. 15 from halfway. Given one man to the right for Xavier Savage, who showed us his pace with an intercept try in the first half. No chance to gallop there. He ran straight into Cooper Clark, who makes the tackle. Now Morgan Smithies down the middle third for Canberra, and he's tackled to meet Canberra's side of halfway. Plays the ball there to Paddy. Given to Tarpany. Men in motion to the left. Through the hand, Sanders. Gave it to the left edge, but good tackle from Lasati right up in the face of that ball receiver in Young. Young tackled 40 from Melbourne's line. Canberra back to right and centre field, and a one-out run from Tarpany. Buffett's away from one. Got a pass away to Paddy. Tried to burrow through, but gets stopped by Liero. Tackle made. 30 out the Raiders as they get to scoring position. Tarpany feeds it on to Mariota. Stands with 3 around him. Thought of an offload. Can't get the arm free. Last play coming up for Canberra here. 15 out. Centre field. Bit of a slow play. The ball. Paddy now looks right. Looks left. Doesn't know what to do. Grubbers for the in goal in the end. Young's chasing, but Warbrick gets there first. Warbrick's into the field of play. Warbrick's galloping over the 10 before being stopped just short of the 20 by the tackle of Kyo Weeks. They fielded it, ran into the field of play and gives Melbourne momentum off that kick return.
Yeah, it was a lot of points scored in the first half. It was a bit of a bludger of a half, but this second half has been tremendous. Off the backs of great efforts. Saul Farlungo got himself caught in the line there defensively for the Storm. They put the kick in Warbrick where he needed to be, running hard, scooping up the loose bill.
And the Purple get to halfway now, back end of this set. It's Liero stops. A couple of plays left, right on halfway. Grant decides to kick downfield. He gets it in behind the fullback and winger defensive right corner. Weeks back there first, takes it, puts on a little step, gets beyond the 10-metre line before Grant is the one to lead the kick chase and make the tackle. 25 and a half minutes left in this one. It's Quentin Hull, Ryan Hoffman and Ian Cohen in Melbourne, and 20 all between the Storm and the Raiders. Seb Chris had a run infield, and now it's given to Tamale as the backs try and get the green machine upfield, but they're still deep in their own half on their 20 there as Tamale plays it. Given to the left edge. Ethan Strange is out there trying to create, but he's tackled and held up by the tackle of Chan. Wants to play it now and does. Raiders still yet to get to the 30. Mucks up to play the ball, but no. Referee says ruck infringement and penalty to the Raiders.
That is a relief, the reliever of all relieving penalties. Canberra Raiders, they were struggling to get to their 40-metre line on the third tackle. Now they've got a nice piggyback penalty to get themselves out. They're going to have their first tackle inside the Storm half.
Harry Grant just got a bit of his own medicine there in a way. So you know how good he is at drawing the penalty. Harry was just a little slow to take his position at marker. So what did Ethan Strange do? Put the ball on his foot.
That's it.
To draw the penalty. So that's what it's like, Harry, when you get the cunning come back at you. Very clever from the young 5'8" from the Raiders. Canberra with the ball as now they're 45 out on the run of Weeks. Given right side, and Seb Chris has a carry. He's put to deck by the tackle of Munster, and also Clark out there. The Raiders 28 out in the right. Back to left and centre field. Dane Laurie's out there. He gives the ball on to Tarpany, and Tarpany is tackled. 22 out in centre field. Still 20 all here in Melbourne. No score in the second half so far. Weak scrubbers for the in goal. Failongo is there, has to field it, and this time he won't try any trickery. He sort of stares the defence in his eyes and then takes a step over the dead ball line, realising there was nowhere to go. Goal line dropout coming up.
Yeah, notice Sean Blaw's come on the field and a limping Cooper Clark is coming off. So I think that's all four interchange players for the Storm. So no Tyron Wishart, but interesting, the Raiders are now put on Tom Starling.
Yep, so that means that... Yep, Wishart not required.
But he was about to go when Harry Grant looks like he was coming off, so they want to hope Harry Grant can push through another.
And no Tui Malatu Brown either.
Yes.
They're the two not required. From the restart, Melbourne go deep, and forward goes Mariota, who's taken 40 out. So Canberra in possession once more off the dropout from the Storm. Now Tarpany doesn't gain much on that run. Big Joe Tarpany plays it for the Raiders. 38 out blindside. It's given there by Starling, who indeed is out there. Fed it on to Young. Young tackled but quick to play the ball. 25 out. Back to the right. Oh, the pass from Laurie is left behind by Hosking. Knock on. Mistake, Canberra. Again.
Yeah, that's a costly drop. Was it second tackle? Second tackle, putting pressure on the Melbourne Storm. They haven't had a lot of time inside the Melbourne Storm edge, so that's a chance gone begging.
So barring head injury assessment calamity, no Jed Stewart or Vena Patuki case today for Canberra, and no Tyron Wishart or Sualonga Tui Malatu Brown, the two unused for either team off the bench. 20 all the scoreline. Melbourne with that scrum feed off the mistake from Canberra. 25 from their own line, and Munster makes 10 metres to the left of the ruck before being tackled. 15 from halfway. Plays the ball to Failongo, and one man to the right of the ruck, Sean Blaw, is stopped. and held on to for too long by Tarpany. He's still got his legs over his head, Joe Tarpany. That's a bit of a mess, and for a moment it was threatening to blow up, but the penalty goes to the Storm.
Yeah, I don't know what that came from. A bit of a push and shove there, but as we said, the intensity of this game has definitely picked up. First half was a bit dull despite all the points were scored, but the intensity, it's gone up to 11.
I liked your description a moment ago. It was a bludger of the first half.
It was a bludger. There was a lot of points, but it was a bludger of a game of football.
Picked up a little bit here. Storm with a kick downfield, start the set on the 40. Howarth runs to the 30 off the tap. He's tackled. Now Munster feeds it right in centre field for Liero. Melbourne setting up for another attack here. Trent Liero, centre field, 21 metres out. 20 all the scoreline. Harry Grant passes right, given on to Hughes, who gets the straightening run there, and McDonald tackled only a dozen out, slightly right of the uprights. Grant dummies left, goes right, gives it on to Chan. Great tackle, one-on-one there from Timacor to bring him down. Quick play the ball, Grant passes back left and centre field to Hughes on the 10, given a Munster shift to the left to Bloor, dummy and straighten, nice tackle. Hosking stops him 5 metres out. Now Grant back to the right, long pass for Hughes. Hughes chips for the flying Warbrick. Leaps, scores, spikes the ball. Where there's a will, there's a hat-trick. That's 3 for Warbrick. And the Storm go to the lead, 24-20.
They're so smart, Harry Grant. They attacked the right edge, then they opened up the left side with a couple of plays. Harry Grant threw the dummy to the left edge and gave it back to Jerome Hughes. What that did, that sent the Raiders' defence to their right, which isolated Will Warbrick one-on-one with Tamale on that edge. Will Warbrick's been catching over Tamale all day. Smart football, Melbourne Storm.
And Cohen on the touchline.
Yeah, really well done by Will Warbrick. He's just been dominating that wing, no doubt about that. Just some news too on Cooper Clark. He went down into the sheds. It looked like maybe knee or lower leg. No one's come back out there, so I'll wait and see what that diagnosis is. But looked like a lower leg sort of injury to him. We may not see him in further action tonight, but Will Warbrick's been amazing tonight.
3 tries tonight makes it 14 for the season for the Warriors-bound Warbrick. Warriors earlier today beating North Queensland 38-20. Of course, Jermaine Asarko's headed from the Dolphins to come to this part of town, and unfortunately we're not going to see Xavier Coates this year, I think.
No, he ruptured Achilles the other week, so unfortunately he has to focus on 27 now.
Well, I think even before he ruptured his Achilles, there were concerns that he wasn't going to get back this year.
Yeah,
it was a little bit worse than first expected.
They were trying to rehab it, and he definitely knew he wasn't right, and unfortunately he did it properly.
Yeah. So it's back with Fa'alongo on the kicking duties. A metre in from touch on the right and 25 metres out. Melbourne lead 24-20. Here's the conversion attempt from Fa'alongo. All right, touchline. Misses near side. So he is 3 from 4 on the day.
I think that's why they signed Asarko.
Yeah. Yep. Well, we had a chat on the pre-game show today about the most reliable kickers. He's been exceptional, Asarko, of recent times. 24-20 for Melbourne over Canberra, with 20 minutes left in the game. Let's get around the grounds. Full time in the New South Wales Cup. Newtown has beaten the Roosters. Jets 30, Roosters 12. Full-time Queensland Cup win for the Pride over the Hunters. Northern Pride 32 over PNG 16. Last quarter in the AFL, the Bulldogs lead St Kilda by 25 points at 70-45. Super Netball semi-finals. Last quarter, West Coast Fever 55 lead the Melbourne Mavericks 50. As Ethan Sanders restarts. Yeah, it is another short kickoff. 15 from the goal line where Hughes makes the catch and then gets tackled on the 20. They've done that a few times today. Now Lasati receives one man in field as Melbourne run the ball upfield from the kickoff. Lasati short of the 30. Melbourne has won 4 of their last 5. Canberra's lost 4 of their last 5 as McDonald's crunched into. Laurie down low, Tarpany up top. McDonald 15 from halfway when stopped. Played the ball. Now good left edge rumble from Hetherington. He'll get to his feet and plays it. Couple from halfway. Grant out of dummy half, or he fed the pass to Fa'alongo. Well read there by the defence of Sanders to put him down. Melbourne just beyond halfway, end of set. Munster receives and puts a high left foot kick downfield. Tamale catches on the 10, runs just beyond the 20. Give him 15 on the kick return. Midway goal line and halfway when he takes it. Canberra, 5 wins, 9 losses for last year's minor premiers. Melbourne, last year's beaten grand finalists, 6 win, 8 losses on the season. This is not where these two teams expected to be. And if they want to improve, this is a big half hour. Make it 20 minutes coming up. As Dane Laurie, he receives an offload, gets tackled, 5 from halfway. Quick play the ball to Starling. Bit of space for Tommy Starling to jump out a dummy half and pinch a dozen for the Raiders. 43 from the Melbourne line as he plays it centre field. Weeks directs it left. Given on to Strange. Strange dragged down one-on-one by the tackle. McDonald on a blindside scoot. Plays it on 5. 25 out. Blindside. Young gives it back to Strange. He's going left and right. Left arm free for an offload. Chucks it to Weeks. On the 20. Kayo Weeks accelerates. Stops. Gives the pass to Tarpany. Pops it over the top to Hosking. Hosking tackled by Leo. But he got the ball away. It's still alive. Loose out the back. Young's got it. 25 on the goal line. Tackled by Liero. Kept it alive to Sanders. Sanders chucks it forward to the wing. Looking for Seb Chris. And there are about 16,000 referees in purple in the stands, Ian Cohen, who gave that call before Todd Smith did.
Yes, even if the man in the middle had missed it, there was certainly plenty of eyes on it. Good news for Storm is that Cooper Clark back up out of the sheds and being run through a bit of a fitness test at the moment.
20 all at half-time now, 24-20. NRL Sunday on ABC Sport. Ian Cohen on the touchline. I'm Quentin Hull, Ryan Hoffman with you. Keep your messages coming on 0467 920 222. Spriggy and the team ready at the footy stadium too for the Roosters and the Sharks, which is to come next, as Warbrick, who's scored 3 tries already tonight, taken 8 metres inside Melbourne territory, plays the ball to Grant, passes left and centre field from Liero to Munster. Munster is held up. Can I say, Liero has got better as the season's got on. It's almost he's playing better footy now since he got picked in the Origin team somewhat unexpectedly after a dud start to the year by his standards.
He's been tremendous tonight. I don't think he's had a blow yet. So what's that, 65 minutes after backing up from Origin?
Yep, he's been terrific tonight. Blore plays it on 5. Melbourne are 40 metres out. Give it to Hughes for another testing bomb at the end of the set, which is well caught by Xavier Savage. Munster's there and makes the tackle. And well, here's another one. Now, Cameron Munster, he, along with Liero and, you know, those Melbourne Stars, they really were struggling at the start of the season, but have got better as the season's gone on. And sometimes getting around Origin camp, you know what it's like, Hoffy.
Yep.
You get to that standard and you raise your own game and you take it back to club level. As Tamale, who's had a good game, hard to tackle on the left edge there for Canberra, eventually stopped just beyond the 20. Still deep in that northern end that the Raiders are defending. 24-20 Melbourne lead, quarter of an hour to go. Laurie on a straightening run gains 10. Plays at 15 from halfway. Now through the hands to the right. Young gives to Mariota. Down to a knee. Can't give the pass, so gets up to play the ball. Starling passes right. End of the set. Sanders with a left boot. High, downfield. Caught on the 20 by Fa'alongo. And the jinking, jiving, weaving fullback can't get his way through. Almost a strip there from Ethan Strange. And the referee's blowing things up here. There's a bunker head injury assessment.
Yeah. I think it's Savage down here. He's got a fair bit of claret coming over his left eye. He's not happy about it.
Down to Ian on the touchline.
Yeah, he's making his way off, but he's not all that comfortable in doing so, and now just being assessed or being mopped up at least. And there was, well, does he have to come off or not? Because the talk was that he was going to come back on, but now it's been confirmed, and now he makes his way off.
So it's a head injury assessment for an interchange, and Corey Horsburgh is going to come back into the game.
As you do when you replace a winger, you put a front rower on. So, yeah, I think they're going to move Dane Laurie, who has been playing in the middle. He's going to go to the right wing. Look, for the Canberra Raiders, it should be simple. Work yourself to a right post, open up your left edge, get the ball to Strange, Hudson Young, Tamale and Timoko. They have looked the most dangerous.
15 minutes to go. Melbourne lead 24-20. Storm with the ball on their own 30. And well, next week, they go to Brookvale to take on Manly Warringah. The Raiders host the Dragons. But we've still got a quarter of an hour to get through here as Liero rolls to the middle of the park. And again, Horsburgh there with Mariota to make the tackle on the Queensland forward. Played to Grant, given right for Hughes. Feeds it back infield to the run of Hetherington. And Hetherington put to deck for the purple centre field and 40 metres from the Raiders line. Grant passes right for Hughes. Hughes from 40 out with a bomb at the end of the set. It'll come down on the head of Tamale. Can't get it. Warbrick catches, chucks it out the back. It's loose. Grant gathers, chucks it to the wing for Hughes. Hughes with a little grubber. Was he taken out trying to chase it? Yes, he was. Penalty Melbourne. It's fielded out there by Young, but Jerome Hughes was taken out at the end of a, well, heads-up footy at the end of the set there. And there's no way it could have been a penalty try or anything like that because there were Canberra defenders around him. Maybe grounds for professional foul, though.
Yeah, it was definitely. I'm happy with just
the penalty.
Yeah,
okay.
Look, I spoke before about what the Canberra Raiders should be doing for the Melbourne Storm. Just take 5 hit-ups and kick the ball in the air to Will Warbrick. He's been catching everything tonight.
On fire. He's already scored the 3 tries. Well, this could be a big moment in the game after we had a point a minute for the first half. We've only had 1 try this second half. Melbourne lead 24-20. There's only 13 minutes left, but the Storm set up on another attacking raid here as Josh King centres the play and has taken only 10 metres out. Play to Grant, shifts it left for Munster. Inside line for Blore. Blore runs into Hosking. Hosking needs some help. He gets it from Horsburgh and Tarpany, and the tackler's made a couple of metres out. Grant passes back right from Munster to Liero to Hughes on the right edge. Feeds the inside line of Lasati, but there are 3 Raiders around. Atavalu Lasati to stop him only 4 metres from the goal line that the Raiders are defending. Grant shifts left out of dummy half, now passes to Hughes, to Munster, Blore to the edge. Howarth holds it, dips it, Leo over in the corner. Lovely execution from the Storm. That's the purple we've come to know. Melbourne 28, Canberra 20. Kick to come. That looked like the Melbourne machine of old.
Yeah, that was a well-executed try there. Great work by Blore. He just brought the defenders in and turned the ball up to Jack Howarth. Jack Howarth had an absolute mare in the first half with a 2-on-1 opportunity, but he summed that up perfectly. He brought the defenders right in, put the pass on to Moses Leo, who just had to put the ball on the ground.
Ian Cohen on the touchline.
Yeah, and just confirming category 2 for Xavier Savage. So he's obviously getting assessed with that HIA now and will, I would expect, to come back. It was a head clash actually with Cam Munster after he'd caught the ball. So that was the reason for the HIA. But great work there by Moses Leo and caps off what's been a reasonable game, although he does run hot and cold, Moses Leo. You can get good and you can also get some that's not so good.
Well, you can look at it 2 ways. There's 8 the difference with a kick to come at 11 minutes to go, and we're up for a really tight finish if Canberra can score next. Or you can see that of the 6 tries to 4, Melbourne have scored 6 of the last 7 tries in the game. So it's been Melbourne since the Raiders got to that 16-0 lead after 18 minutes.
Well, imagine if Melbourne Storm actually started when the whistle went. Didn't take to the 10th minute before they wanted to play rugby league.
Mind you, it's the Raiders, and you know what they can do?
Yes.
They can turn it on, they can go to sleep and then turn it on late, so I wouldn't suggest calling this one done. Pretty important kick here for Fa'alongo. Left touch, right foot strike, looks pretty good. Oh, and it bounces off the crossbar and goes over. And in this game, that's worth 2. At the Big World Tournament, that's a goal kick. It bounced off the crossbar and went behind. But in rugby league, that's a valuable 2 points for Melbourne. And it's 30 points to 20 with 11 minutes to go. You rarely see that.
Like it landed flush on top of the crossbar and bounced over.
Just pinged over.
It was a high kick and it literally just dropped right on top of it. Oh.
Well, we were right behind the kick. It was always looking good for accuracy, Hoffy. It just got there. So, well, Canberra just have to score next now. As, again, that dropout doesn't really threaten the goal line, the restart, should I say, the kick-off. Udawika Manu up to the 21st carry. Melbourne having trailed 16-0 after 18 minutes. Now lead 30-20 and there's 10.5 to go. Chan on a run short of the 30. Lasati now. Next carry for Melbourne mid-set. He stopped a dozen, his own side of halfway. The purple out on the right as Grant has King run by him and then gives the pass to Liero. Trent Liero's numbers, they'd be good today, I'd reckon. off the back of, 37 minutes in Origin on Wednesday night. Grant out a dummy half. Passes to Fa'alongo. He runs into the defence. Horsburgh made a grappling tackle. Their teammates there, led by Young and others, to finish him off. Fa'alongo on 5, plays the ball 45 out. Given to Hughes for the last play. And once again, it's a testing kick to Warbrick's side. Warbrick catches, takes a tackle, offloads, play on. Pass got to Munster. Munster's kick, charged down, regathered by a Storm player. 6 to go as Weeks had to make a tackle on King. Played to Grant, give it to Uruwikamanu. They're ready for the kill here now, the purple. King's got 3 around him, but is held up and driven into the deck. A metre from the goal line. 9.5 to go. Coup de grace imminent in Melbourne, you'd sense. Liero is dancing, but he can't get through there with Sanders there to make the tackle along with Tarpany. Pass left for Munster, holds it, gives it to Howarth, bounces off the tackle of Chris, chucks it to Munster, Munster to Fa'alongo. There is coup de grace. Fa'alongo over in the corner, Melbourne will win. The Storm lead 34-20 with a kick to come, and Sua Fa'alongo scores his first try of the night. And Melbourne will continue this mid-season resurgence, and the Raiders look a rabble mid-year in 2026.
Look, Cameron Munster gave the pass, Fa'alongo scored the try, but the man where all the Melbourne Storm points have come from has been Will Warbrick. He's competing on kicks. Every single time he's got up for a ball, he's come down with it, and something's good happen for the Melbourne Storm.
Well, Ian, somehow the Storm have got going here. They turned up late, but they're going to win easing down.
Yeah, well, Fa'alongo looked like he was injured in that last tackle. He spent a lot of time in back play. Suddenly it was 6 more. It was live again. He made his way down to that left side wing, and he was always looking dangerous, and then the moment struck. But I'll tell you what, it's been a massive team effort for them to get across the line. There's been a lot in mid-play that have done some serious hard work. You've pointed out the 13 of Trent Liero, but he's had plenty of mates going right down the middle, and they've really opened up Canberra.
Gee, I to be a Raiders fan. 18 minutes in, 16-0 up, and you think, oh, maybe this is the season starting to turn. But no, now that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of the last 8 tries to Melbourne. 7 of the last 8 tries in the game.
But they went away from what they were doing well, opening up their left edge, going to their strike players.
Can Fa'alongo convert his own try? 5 in from touch on the left and 22 metres out. This right boot, well, it looks straight. Is it long enough this time? Yes, that one does clear the crossbar without banging it off the top. So that is 5 from 6 for Sua Fa'alongo. And Melbourne lead Canberra 36-20 with 7.5 minutes left in the game. But you'd usually be thinking, oh, that's getting close to the end of the footy for the Sunday. Nope, we've got a third game coming your way from the Sydney Football Stadium with the Roosters taking on the Sharks. What a big game to finish the weekend. Let's go around the grounds. AFL make it fourth quarter. Western Bulldogs 12-11-83 lead St Kilda 7-11-53. Super Netball semi-final. The Melbourne Mavericks have been eliminated. Short kickoff there hasn't gone to 10, by the way. I'll give that netball score. Fever 56, Mavericks 52. So the Maverick have been eliminated from the Super Netball semi-finals. So the Raiders stuffed up the kickoff, and Melbourne will get the ball 10 their own side of halfway. What do you reckon? That's 7 and 8 now on the season for the Storm, with a trip to Brookie to play Manly next. That's a
tough road trip.
Battle of Brookvale.
Yeah, that's a tough.
With the Storm trying to just claw their way back into the season anyway. Uruwikamanu's got it now out in the right. He's been huge in the second half.
Tremendous the second half.
Very good.
First carry cue. He was outstanding.
Right edge and 30 out as he plays the ball. Melbourne might get some more points here. Grant runs to centre field. Throws a pass like he was an old rugby union scrum half there. Throwing his body to deck as he chucked it to Munster. Munster's tackled 22 metres out. Now Grant a bit more conventional. Passes right from Liero to Uruwikamanu, who bounces away from Hudson Young before Young comes again with help from Tarpany to make the tackle. Storm are only a dozen out. Its last play. Blindside right. Given on to Tolau. Chips for Warbrick again. Was he taken out? No, he didn't get to it. Taken by Tamale in the in-goal area for Canberra, who races out to the 20. Taps for the start of the 7 tackle set and gains 10 before being grassed. Will Brawlbrick man of the match. The effort is so impressive. Ed from Gutterimba, the rural locality you can't pronounce. I hope that was okay. I had a go anyway. Raiders having a go. Left edge here for some late points. Weeks feeds it on to Timokor. Over halfway. Ankle tapped over by Fa'alongo. And tackled by Chan. He looks good when he gets it though. Matt Timokor hasn't seen enough of it today. Raiders on the 30 but on the attack. Pass to right and centre field from Sanders to Strange. Give it to the edge for Laurie. Nice fend on Howarth. Now he links up with Chris on the wing. Chris then out of territory and Munster there makes the tackle along with Hetherington. King it was. Back to left and centre field. Sanders gives it on to Horsburgh. Corey Horsburgh draws 2, flips an offload out the back. Starling picks it up, scurries before being tackled by Grant around the bootlaces. 18 metres out. Horsburgh's at distributor. Gives it left. Sanders on to Strange. Strange beat 1. Passes on to Timokor. Draw and pass it to Marley's edge, but the right side defence shifts. And does enough to make the tackle. Good play there from Fa'alongo to make the tackle. Now at the end of the set, Sanders bombs towards the post. Laurie leaps and catches and reaches out very close to scoring the try. May just be short though.
I reckon he's just short.
It's a good effort from Dane Laurie.
Very thick try lines. So all he has to do is get a grass. Grass of paint.
Canberra kick chases onside. Dane Laurie takes clean possession of the ball.
He was still a metre and a half or so out with his back to the line, but he used his strength to swivel and the right arm got close. Not close enough though.
Oh. I tell you, it got a lot closer than what I thought.
Dane Laurie grounds the ball short of the line. We have a decision.
It was a good Jack Howarth. Just managed to get his arm on the ball carrying arm there.
How'd I go with Gundarimba, by the way? Is that the right? That was an unnamed text. 0467 920 222. Haven't had the official crowd come through, I don't think. But
just got it queue, actually. 19,326. So a bit like the MCG on Wednesday. Good, healthy crowd for rugby league in Melbourne.
Yeah, I spoke to a couple of friendly attendants in the lead-in. They said they were expecting 16,000. So I reckon, Koza, this sunny Melbourne Sunday's brought a few extras to the footy.
Might have borne a few that might have enjoyed it and go away and come again. That's what we need.
Indeed. It's been a gorgeous day, but night time now here in the Victorian capital. Munster inside the 40. Is there a late 40-20 in game 250 for Cam Munster? No, but it's still a very good kick. Goes to within a couple of metres of the corner post, and Weeks has to go all the way back to get it. And the fullback's tackled by a 3-man chase committee there for Melbourne. Good work from Blore and Munster and Grant there to stop him. And we've only got 3.5 to go here, and Melbourne lead 36 points to 20. Laurie out of dummy half up to the 20 for the Green Machine. Now Hosking goes 1 man forward. What about the Raiders fans? Will they be showing up? You'd hope so. They got just a must-win next game. They play the Dragons at home before the bye. And, boy, the season of so much expectation has been too green around the gill, so to speak. Horsburgh to the left. Gives it on to Strange. Strange passed it at the shins of Tamale again. He knocks it on. That asked a bit too much of his winger there. Picked up by Warbrick. He's jumped on immediately, but Melbourne's got the ball 5 metres from halfway as we enter the final 3 minutes of the game.
Yeah, I've noticed the Melbourne Storm, they've taken off Jerome Hughes. They put him on ice for the night, and Trent Tolau's going out and playing halfback. It's been a great effort by Harry Grant to come in after backing up from 80 minutes in Origin, and he turned the game when he got himself on the football field.
Yeah, and sort of struggling to run out a bit of a hip pointer injury as well. A big tackle from Owen Paddy got him. Still might be points here though. There he is out of dummy half. Grant jinking right, passing to Fa'alongo, who has a bit of a dance. Got tackled, gives it to Hetherington, tries to fend his way away from Sanders, but Sanders makes the tackle. And the Storm will play it 26 metres out, 2.5 minutes left in the game. Left side shift, Grant on to Munster. Well, it's not a shift because Munster ran it in the end. And Munster gets tackled. Only a dozen out, slightly left edge. Grant runs blindside, given on to Blore. Sean Blore. Well, it needs 3 Raiders to hold him up. He ran it on the last and gets stopped just before the goal line. So a handover, and We now stop pushing on the pedals and let the wheels roll into the end of this game. Oh, what's Ricky going to say about this one? What can he say? 16-0 Raiders after 18 minutes. But then the Storm, they scored 3 tries in the space of about 7 minutes to erase the deficit before the half-hour mark.
It was the try on the... Oh, did you see another error?
And it's ended up in the hands of Trent Tolau, who runs 15 metres untouched to score to make it 40-20. Another try for Melbourne at the death. It gets worse for Canberra.
He hasn't had a happy night, poor old Ethan Sanders. A couple of errors, and that was his drop ball there that Trent Tolau jumped on and stuck it under the post.
So we had 20 each in 40 minutes in the first half, and as it stands, it's 20-0 in 40 minutes of the second half, kick to come.
The Melbourne Storm Centre scored 20 points in each half.
Yep. Oh, and the half-back, yeah, right there. Sanders, the pass was a little high, but he dropped it cold, and the bounce was very favourable. Dare I say it? Yeah, not quite Darren Lockyer at Docklands in 2006.
Don't talk about that.
Sorry.
Not the time of year, Q.
Well, we've just had Origin in Melbourne.
That's still not the time of year. We don't need to reminisce about Queensland victories.
Give me an uppercut. I just never mentioned that. The start of the streak, as it was.
Yep.
So Trent Tolau, that's his first try of the season. And
first try for the Storm.
Yep. And Cameron Munster's going to kick for goal at the end of his 250th club game.
All right, this isn't a gimme. I've seen Cameron Munster kick, and even though it's at front, I don't think it's a gimme.
Mad Dog money. 250 in purple, and with the hooter about to sound, and the ball on the kicking tee, 10 metres out and directly in front.